You're wrong. No, you're wrong.
But I have a different opinion.
They're both wrong.
Inconceivable!
In a world where laughter was king, on the edge of space.
Ludicrous speed! Go!
Get together, have a few laughs.
Masters of the universe!
Hey, welcome back. Welcome back to the Cinemasters podcast. I am Ron Avis.
And I'm Adam Peterson.
And we got a great show for you guys. Starting off the top of the show, we have the resolution or the conclusion of What You Haven't Seen That, where Adam will be discussing French Connection, and I will be discussing Bachelor Party. Almost forgot. And after that, we have our main event, which is going to be... There will be music. At the main event's going to be our 10 favorite movies that feature predominantly SNL cast members. Or, alumni.
Yes.
Don't have to be like current cast members, but alumni. And, the SNL's been around for nearly 40 years.
Almost 50 years now.
Just about a decade. Well, no, a century. That's what I meant.
A half a century.
I don't know what a decade is. I've seen enough of them. I don't know what
There's
one is.
a lot.
Yes.
There's a lot of Saturday Night Live.
And then we're going to conclude things with the triumphant return of Who Played It Better, where we pick a movie for each other and challenge.
It's a challenge.
You do a challenge to see if you can cast a better actor, actress for the roles that they were made famous by previously by, for example, Silence of the Lambs. You got to recast Hannibal Lecter, and you chose
David
Tennant, Scrooge McDuck. Or Doctor Who, if you watch that more.
He's a demon in the new Good Omens show.
Is he really?
He is.
He is just a character actor, isn't he?
He's a versatile son of a gun.
Definition of a character actor. But we will not waste any more time because
I would like to waste some time talking about other things.
So, anyways, like I said, we're going to start off with
What?
Who Played It Better?
Okay!
Yeah.
It was timed really
It
well.
was timed pretty good.
That's great.
You think I might have planned that out even?
I think you did.
I think so. And as I said at the top, you're going to be doing French Connection, and I'm going to be doing Bachelor Party, the Tom Hanks 1984, I think is when it came out. I didn't write that down because I'm not very prepared. I think it was 1984. Early 80s, pre-superstardom Tom Hanks, basically.
Because The Man with One Red Shoe came out in 1985.
You always go to that, don't you? You can't go to Splash.
Nope. The Man with One Red Shoe.
You don't even go Bosom Buddies?
Nope. The Man with One Red Shoe.
So I guess we'll go ahead and start with Bachelor Party.
Go for it.
Tom Hanks is pretty much the only notable actor from that movie. It's a notorious sex romp comedy that I'm here to tell you right now doesn't age very well.
I didn't think that it would.
No.
I was curious, but I didn't think that it would.
I think, it's a movie that a lot of other it's been ripped off a lot. Yeah. Whether you want to talk about like a literal Bachelor Party ripoff, with Leslie Chow and The Hangover, but more so even just like American Pie, like that kind of stuff. I think it all owes a little bit to Porky's and Bachelor Party.
Because they did an updated Bachelor Party. I know they did a sequel to it.
Oh, they did?
But I think they did an updated, like a remake with nobody. Not that I remember anybody, but it was a few years ago. But
not even Tom Hanks. I said Tom Shanks. Tom Shanks.
We don't know what his middle name is. It could start with a C.
It could.
Then it could be Tom C. Hanks.
Tom C. Hanks. It's Courtney. Tom Courtney Hanks.
Tom Courtney Hanks.
We're on you, Tom.
Tom Shanks.
My favorite Leslie, no thanks, Tom Hanks. That's my favorite.
I like that you could, if you abbreviate his first name to just a letter and then his last name it's T. Hanks.
Yeah.
Looks like thanks.
Yeah.
He's a grateful kind of guy.
Well, isn't there's like a meme where Tom is standing and there's like a T and then it Hanks and like his head is covering up the O and the M and he moves away and it's like Tom Hanks.
It's Tom Hanks.
Peter Griffin?
Everything that guy says is hilarious. I have AIDS.
Not in this movie though. He's not really that good. He's yet to kind of find himself. He's yet to find Penny Marshall, I think is what the problem is. Penny Marshall didn't do Splash, but it was another. Was it Gary Marshall or something? It was a pretty famous director, I think.
Yeah,
that did Splash.
I could look it up.
You could look it up. So I'll talk about Bachelor Party. So the movie starts out. I'm not even kidding. There's kind of a quick montage of all the rascals that are in the Tom Hanks friend party, his group of friends, and within like a few minutes. There is a scene where there's this really chesty 80s babe, and she's taking her child. Like, this guy works at one of those, like, Olin Mill type places, like, glamour shots.
Glamour shots.
And for whatever reason, like, the mom has, like, the deepest cleavage ever showing off her, bosom buddies. Bosom? I don't know. There's probably not a connection there.
There could be.
There could be, though.
There could be.
No, but so, like, she's getting a picture of their kid, and the guy's like trying to trick her into getting in the picture and like showing off her boobs. And I'm not even kidding. When he notices her boobs, there's a sound effect that plays to the effect of boom. And I knew then this is the kind of movie we're in for. This is really, really bad. And it's not to say it doesn't have some funny parts. Like, the donkey scene, which is kind of the standout scene, I think, for that people remember. If you've seen Clerks 2, like Dante and Randall, like Dante, the whole reason for Kiki Kelly and the Sexy Stuff is because apparently, like, they saw that movie when they were like, kids, and they couldn't, they wanted to have their own experience from the TJ. And sure enough, the woman, like, there's like iconic scenes, like the guy's going crazy and he like hits his head, like, with the bottle of liquor. And there's this jackass preppy who wants to. Well, let me get back to one of the reasons why this movie doesn't work. And I say that like I froze there because the jackass preppy has it for the Tom Hanks's girlfriend, who is Tawny Katane.
Ooh,
she's the lead actress in this movie. And you guys would know Tawny basically being draped across the Whitesnake's car in a music video. That's like what that was her greatest performance.
Or America's Funniest People with Dave Coulier.
Draped across the hood of Whitesnake's car. No, she was fine in that.
Potato.
Yeah, potato. But she has no chemistry with Tom Hanks at all. Like, Tawny Katane is just like this really sexy thing, this actress that was in Playboy and stuff a lot. I mean, she was just a hot girl. And it's not to say that she was terrible, but she was kind of bad. And, so right off the bat, like, we have to care about their relationship and we don't. And really it's just a conduit. Like, it's like the girlfriend of was it Stu that was getting married in Bachelor Party, or not Bachelor Party, Hangover. He has his fiance, and like, you don't even really care. Like, it doesn't really matter if they have a whole lot of chemistry because they're gone from that point.
Oh yeah.
But Tawny Katane shows up a bunch in the movie, so she's kind of a vital part of the movie. A handful of times I laugh. Like, there was this scene where the girls were trying to catch the guys being bad because they had a hotel and they had learned that they were having like a real crazy bachelor party, even though Tom Hanks promised there wouldn't be any shenanigans or strippers. So they end up at they decide to go to a strip club themselves, like a Chippendales type place. And Tom Hanks learns, because his buddy is a bartender at the Chippendales, so he calls up times like, "Hey man, your girlfriend's here, whatever." So they show up and they're like, we'll teach those girls to try and have fun on their own. Ha!
It's lesson time.
So they get this big guy to come up, and his name's Nick the Dick. Do you remember this? Because I remember you said you'd seen it.
It's been a long time. I think I know her.
It has to be one of the first instances of a movie where, like, there's a guy supposedly with a huge penis, and when he moves it and it hits something, that makes this like great sound, like indicating how heavy it is, I guess. So he puts like a hot dog bun on a plate, or like a tray, like they would serve hot dogs at a Chippendales, like appetizers. It's really weird.
we have a short menu, mostly hot dogs.
Short being an oxymoron, because Nick the Dick, I mean, he was true to the task. I mean, so they put the bun and then he plops his stuff in there and like he walks out and the joke is like, you know, one of the girls is gonna like tug at it and like a normal person would just see it and go like, but like she sees it and then like for whatever reason, like, you know, she grabs it and she's pulling it. So like Nick's kind of doing like this. And she's like screaming and freaking out, but she keeps tugging it. Like, who would do that? No human person would do that. Like she's appalled, but she also still really wants a hot dog. So if she just keeps pulling it, you know, it'll become a hot dog, I guess. Some sort of like transformative magic.
I cannot
picture
imagine
this in your head, man.
I cannot imagine any sequence of events in anyone's life ever where you would be in that much need for a hot dog. Just ever.
It's like $1, you know, anywhere. Just stop and get a hot dog. The movie's pretty terrible. I can't say that I can recommend it. I can't even say that it's really all that important because there's been so many better movies since then. And you know, if you're a Tom Hanks fan, which I am, everybody is, just skip this one. You'll be disappointed at Tom Hanks after you see it.
Just move on to The Man with One Red Shoe. Watch it again.
You would move back to that, I guess.
Watch it again.
No, just go get Big or you know, Joe versus the Volcano. Get yourself any Tom Hanks, Meg Ryan movie, even You've Got Mail.
It's a great movie.
It's not bad. It's okay. So
it's a remake of The Shop Around the Corner. With
I know, right?
That's a better movie, but I enjoy both of them.
That's probably why they decided to remake it. People enjoy that movie.
They named her shop The Shop Around the Corner.
Perfect.
This is Chippendale's star attraction, Mr. Nicholas, better known as Nick the Dick.
Nick the what?
The Dick.
Hey! Ho-ho!
I would like to move on to which I'm sure is much better movie in The French Connection.
The French Connection.
Yeah. So what's that handsome devil Gene Hackman up to in The French Connection?
Gene Hackman and Roy Scheider.
Oh, nice.
Yes.
Blue Thunder's Roy Scheider.
Yeah, this is, and that was before. It was
Notice I didn't say Jaws, like
Yep.
obviously his most famous role.
Don't go to Jaws.
Sequests.
You know that Jonathan Brandis kid killed himself.
Yeah, I know. We brought that up once.
We did.
This is 2 episodes we brought you guys down with suicide.
I'm gonna
news.
keep bringing him up
You should.
by bringing everybody down.
Go watch Sidekicks right now.
Yeah.
If you can find it.
Pause this and go watch Sidekicks with Jonathan Brandis, who is dead from suicide.
He took his own life.
He did.
Don't do that, kids.
Don't
Do
not
do that. So, French Connection.
French Connection, 1971. So before really either Gene Hackman or Roy Scheider was a household name. Jaws came out in 75. Gene Hackman really didn't.
That's true. Yeah.
Yeah. So this is it was the first R-rated film to win an Academy Award. Won 5.
Wow.
3 Golden Globes. Did really well.
Best Picture.
Best Picture, Best
Nice,
Director, Best
nice.
Actor. Roy Scheider was nominated for Best Supporting Actor. Did not win, unfortunately. But yeah, did quite well. And it was based on a true story. I did not know that.
Really?
Yes.
What is the story?
It is there, and it had been going on for quite some time. There was a huge drug smuggling ring that was coming in from France. Hence the French Connection.
Where does the movie take place?
It takes place in New York City.
Okay.
There was
grimy New York City.
in the beginning. It goes back and forth between France and New York as you're
Okay.
getting to know the French mobsters, which
That's a term you don't ordinarily
You don't
hear
hear
very
that all that often.
Russian mobsters, triad.
Italian.
Yes, Italians.
classic.
Obviously, Italians are number one. I
Yeah.
didn't mean to slight them in any way. A gabagool.
I love the gabagool.
Michael Scott.
I love me some Michael Scott,
Yes.
especially as a gangster. But so they're going back and
Famously
forth.
plays a gangster in all of his movies.
He's a great. Really.
He's a real tough guy.
If they remade The Godfather, like they probably should, I would
Don't
cast.
ruin it. What if I picked
Michael
that for you?
Scott.
What if that's what I picked for
Then
you?
I'm already ahead of the game.
Okay, then you've already
Michael
done.
Scott.
You've already completed that check off your list.
And he'll play every role.
Every role.
Every role.
It's a
It'd be like-
one-man Godfather
It'd
show.
be like The Godfather meets The Clumps kind of thing, which would be an
I
interesting.
love that you picked the clumps.
The Clumps. I bypassed the first one. Straight to The Clumps. Straight to the close.
What's the best usage of an actor playing many different roles in a movie? Like, what would like, just it's an impromptu, put you on the spot.
Doctor
right now.
Strangelove, Peter Weller.
Okay. Well, I haven't seen that, so I'm going to have to go with Eddie Murphy in Coming to America.
That was a good one too.
I love him and Eddie Murphy once again playing multiple characters with
does.
makeup on.
Maybe he doesn't play well with others. So he's like, fine, I'll just be all the characters.
Yeah, and that's
Me.
fine because he's better at playing all the characters.
And it'll just be me and Arsenio Hall.
Oh, that's Arsenio Hall, man. He needs to come into it because there's been long rumor to come into America.
I think they're making.
Yeah,
They're making it.
I hope he's in it. I hope they're still best pals.
I don't think he's doing much else.
Well, that doesn't mean he's going to be in it.
You could get him cheap.
He could be real petty towards Arsenio.
Like,
Did Eddie ever do the Arsenio Hall show? He must have.
I would hope so.
Right? He had to have.
I would like to see that show come back.
I would love that show came back with him.
Yeah.
And they couldn't bring somebody else back. Arsenio Hall, starring Kevin Hart.
That would be.
That would be amazing and confusing.
Yes. Right.
And he wouldn't do that. That's beneath Kevin Hart
It
now.
is.
He needs to be in a couple of rock bombs before that happens.
And he's not.
Rock bottoms?
There's not a lot that's beneath Kevin Hart. Because he's short. It was a short joke. But he's got a lot more.
I need a
money
rim
than-
shot sound effect. I'll get that. I'll work on that. I'm sorry. So back and forth between France
and New York.
New York.
And you got Popeye, which is Gene Hackman's his nickname. Popeye and Cloudy, that's their nicknames.
I was like, Robin Williams?
The actual police officers that they portrayed were on set every day for the authenticity of the film. What I'm in looking at kind of the background information on the film, I really enjoyed. They didn't secure permits for a lot of stuff. Like the car chase in that movie is one of the most iconic car chases, and it was just Gene Hackman driving like a crazy man.
Not even a stuntman?
No. Not being towed, not being pulled, driving like a bat out of hell through the streets of New
Well, he
York.
wasn't anybody yet then, right? So they didn't. Gene Hackman could die in a car accident.
And I mean, because they had most of the extras.
Who would be in Welcome to Mooseport?
I don't know.
Imagine who would play that role.
I don't know how. I mean, that would be a good, recasting. Like, I don't know how you'd stump me on that. Welcome to Mooseport. Well,
I shan't dare even think about that possibility.
I could recast Ray Romano in a heartbeat.
Who could you recast? Who else is like Ray Romano?
Anybody.
I can't do a Ray Romano.
You could literally get anyone.
Okay.
You could get a garbage man.
Just like a garbage man on Quaaludes.
Yep.
Boom. All right. Anyway, sorry, I keep interrupting you.
No, it's fine. It's a discussion.
It is. It's an interruption, actually.
It's an interruption. Pardon the interruption. That's another show.
Wait, we should take that title.
We should use that.
Our listeners don't watch sports. They would not have a clue.
Sports.
And boom goes the dynamite.
Phooey and pshaw. That's what I say to that.
That would be your catchphrase. Phooey and pshaw.
That's what I.
When a guy strikes out, when
Phooey and pshaw.
when like Randy Johnson shuts a guy down with a strikeout. Phooey and pshaw.
Strike three. Phooey and pshaw. To that.
Twirl the mustache. That would be awesome. The interruption's completed. We're going to get through this
We
thing.
will get there.
You politely sat there and listened to everything I had to say about the crappy Bachelor Party movie.
There's not a lot of interject with that.
No, not really. It was shitty.
It was.
And it was really not woke. Well, I don't even say it was woke because it's not like there was a lot of racism or, degrading of women other than the boom. That was kind of degrading, I guess.
That's just degrading to people.
Yeah, to people in general. But no, the French Connection. Nobody, where Gene Hackman's not degrading anybody except driving like a bat out of hell.
They're
no permits.
They didn't get permits for
That's
a lot.
guerrilla filmmaking right there.
And that was William Friedkin. Also directed The Exorcist and another little film you might be familiar with, Blue Chips.
Nope.
Starring Shaquille O'Neal.
Oh, he directed that?
He directed Blue Chips.
I love Blue
Nick
Chips,
Nolte
actually.
and Shaquille O'Neal.
He likes casting ugly guys for like his lead role.
Yes, Nick Nolte.
Nick Nolte is an ugly guy.
It's like a Beauty and the Beast kind of thing with Nick Nolte and Shaquille O'Neal.
He was like People Magazine's sexiest person here. It's like, this is rigged.
Nick Nolte.
You've seen the the photo, the police photo with
Yes,
the hair, the crazy hair.
and the
Where it's like,
Hawaiian
I'm like, is that Gary Busey or is that Nick Nolte? Because I can't tell. I cannot tell. I want to put them up side by side.
Yeah, Nick Nolte he's in that new Angel Has Fallen.
Yeah.
And I'm kind of okay with it, but
I'm okay with it. I like Nick Nolte. Yeah,
he's rough. He's
I liked him
rough
in
around the
Warrior.
edges.
He was great in that.
He was great. He was good. He played the dad.
He played the alcoholic shit dad, which I can buy.
Hey, bet that was a stretch for him.
Probably an
I
excellent
can really
father.
relate to this role, can't you, Nick?
He's probably a great dad, sent all of his kids to good schools, went to every single function, recital, game.
We're just throwing them under the bus.
Yeah,
that's what we
'cause,
do here. We
that's
throw
what we do.
people arbitrarily under the bus.
Arbitrarily under the bus, the podcast.
Why not? Arbitrarily under the bus. We have renamed our podcast like 3 or 4 times a day. They're all
Oh man,
great.
you remember that time Nick Nolte got it out onto his hands and knees and blew a mule?
I do. I have it on VHS.
Do you now? VHS. What did you record it on?
One of those big cameras.
Oh,
the big-
okay. One of those like Bob Saget
Yeah.
funniest home video deals.
Yep.
Well, your family was rich,
Yeah.
Anyway.
We were super rich,
super wealthy.
super ultra wealthy. Yeah.
That's a level of wealth that I will never achieve.
I'm not there.
No doubt
Not
yet.
there.
Digressing now. All right, let's get through this thing.
All right. So there are drugs coming into to the America,
To the America
and
of the United States.
these two police officers, they're narcotics officers. And they stumble upon this plot to bring these drugs into America, and so they in real life this has been going on for decades, and so
Okay. In the 60s?
Yes.
Okay.
I think it started in, I want to say, like the 40s.
Okay.
I was trying to do a little bit of research on it, but
And decades or 10 years.
Decades
We've
or 10
learned from the top of the show.
we have learned the length of a decade. We paused.
Century is 10, right?
Century is 1,000. Oh,
damn it.
It's 1,000 billion.
Okay. All right, let's
know.
go. Let's go.
And so these two police officers, I've heard a lot of actual police officers say that this is one of their favorite cop movies, and I can see it's one of those if you watch it just through the lens of like a 2000 and later cop movie,
Yeah.
it's hard to, because we're so accustomed to explosions and massive gunfights and all these special effects and
Yeah.
all this kind of padding to a cop movie.
Right.
But these guys, this one, I think is really fairly true, and that was what they were really going for. That's what Friedkin, when he was directing, he wanted. If they weren't one of the principal actors, I think everybody was an off-duty cop. And I think most, if not all of them, were police officers that actually worked in some form or fashion on the actual case. So they were familiar with what was going on. And everything they're doing, they're filming in the subway. I mean, all of the people that are not involved in the shoot, the people that are just walking down the streets, just regular New Yorkers that have no idea anything's going on. They weren't shutting down traffic.
Different time back in the day.
Yeah, they were just,
nobody got fuzzed out.
no, they were. There was even one in the police chase, because they had several cars set up where they were going to have near misses or slight crashes, and there was one where a guy pulls out and Gene Hackman actually hit him, and that wasn't planned. It was just a guy that was driving and he hit him and kept driving.
And then he stuck his head out the window like, "If you hit my car, you consent to be in this movie."
So it was like taking all that into consideration. It was it was pretty cool to see, and it's highly. I think it's got like an 8 point something, on IMDb, 94% Metacritic. I mean, just everybody.
It's probably one of those top 100 movies on every list.
It really was.
I like that you're going back into the 60s and.
This was 71.
Yeah.
A decade I don't. But it was, as I was watching it, and because the last one I did was Midnight Cowboy, they stylistically, the technology, they felt very similar. Midnight Cowboy was 1969, this is 71. So you have that first couple of years of a new decade. You're kind of trailing off of whatever's popular in the last decade.
Yeah.
So there wasn't a lot of difference. It wasn't into that full 70s kind of perspective. But it was... I appreciated all of the effort. It really comes through. For your casual observer that's going to watch the movie and not, investigate all these things and know these things, they come through in a very comprehensive, stylistically pleasing way that makes it, it's a movie that's nearly 50 years old at this point.
Yeah.
And I would say it is probably one of the greatest cop movies of all time. And
Right.
it does hold up well. And it's deserving of the accolades that it got. And it, nearly 50 years later, still very, very easy to watch, very easy to follow. They did make a sequel, which was fabricated. There was no...
Okay, so there was no true story to
No, there
bring
was
that
no actuality to the sequel. It was just...
Billy reading the papers like, man, none of these crimes are very interesting.
Yeah. He goes to France in the second one. He's kind of a fish out of water because he's like, I'm used to New York, and I think they just had Gene Hackman in it. So
Gotcha.
I think it's like a 6.8 on IMDb, but it was not.
Yeah, so still good.
Still a solid film.
Yeah, still good.
But
Think you'll seek it out now that you've seen the original?
I may check it out just out of curiosity to see what the direction they took. I don't know if Friedkin. I don't think he directed the sequel.
Okay.
So I'll be curious to see what kind of changes. But it may be one. I do highly recommend French.
I liked learning that he was the director of The Exorcist.
Yeah, and Blue
that's-
Chips.
Obviously, Blue Chips, his signature movie.
And he directed Bug in I think 2008.
Oh, with Ashley Judd.
Ashley Judd and
Yeah.
Killer Joe in 2011.
He disappeared, man.
He was. It's funny. He was like seeing these. He's been directing stuff since like the 60s.
Yeah.
All the way up till 2011. So he's been around. He doesn't have a lot of directing credits, but he kind of bounces around a little bit. But it's like.
I remember when Bug came out, they were really touting that,
Yeah.
like from the director of The Exorcist.
Exorcist.
And there were a lot of Exorcist sequels hitting, and then you're just like, oh, okay, well maybe this will be worthwhile. And Bug really wasn't.
No, it was not.
It wasn't that good.
And honestly, like I think people give The Exorcist a little bit too much credit. I think it's one of the most hilarious horror movies of all time.
Yeah, I mean, it still scares me. Like, part of it too is it's been just lampooned and parodied so often. But if you catch it like late at night with no parental figures at home and you were relatively young, it was scary to me. I mean, I remember watching that from like the hallway of the TV. Like I wasn't even in the room. Like I was watching it from the hallway. Like I could get a head start. Like the TV was gonna come to life and shit was gonna get to me. And I mean, and also it must have been terrifying to people who went to see it in movie theaters who had nothing to take the edge off of it. There was like no comedic element to it. You were just like watching this thing that supposedly happened, and
I do like there's a part in The Exorcist where the detective, he's interviewing Ellen Burstyn, Linda Blair's mom, and he's asking her on the day that the guy died. He was asking her just like basically trying to find out if anybody else,
real guy.
Yeah, had anybody been in the house? Did you get any food deliveries? Did you get any laundry deliveries? Did you get any packages? And he goes through this whole line of questioning. And I don't know why it struck me as funny as it was. He starts off, did you get any packages that day? And he goes through a number of things. And then he says, did you get any packages? He asks that again.
Oh, really?
And it's one of those like, it just struck me as funny.
She's lying.
Because I was sitting there and I was like, why would you ask that same question? I mean, it was like, it wasn't like 10 minutes ago. It was like literally like 45 seconds ago you asked, did you get any packages? And I'm like, and this
Was he winking?
This
Like,
is scripted.
did you get any packages?
That would have been a very odd turn for the film.
It's like, well, I can't believe they left that in the movie.
Say, did you receive any packages?
Wink. For you audio-only listeners, I was thrusting my pelvis.
There was pelvic thrusting.
Indicating that he was a porno man.
Yes.
I was a porno man.
A porno man.
I've never heard anybody say porno man. I love the way that sounds.
That's a t-shirt. That's a t-shirt.
Porno man.
Porno man.
I am porno man.
That's you.
My gyrate thrusting. I will defeat you with my invisible... Yeah, never mind.
Whatever's coming after.
I don't know. Like I definitely did a hump right here, like a big ass, like right there. You notice the arch?
I think you're still stuck on the clumps.
Ron's an ass man. I've had no drinks.
Ron and Kramer.
Do what now?
That would be a great movie, The Ass Man.
The Ass Man.
You
okay.
and Kramer.
Is it The Ass Man Cometh? Was that a thing? People leave a comment if that's a thing.
Yeah, if that's a thing. In any capacity.
No, the Ass Man was just from the license plate, yeah.
Yes.
Okay, so recommend?
Yes, I highly recommend. It's a great film.
All right, let's speed away from this accident.
Run quickly away from this.
You took off your shoes, put your finger between your toes, and picked your feet, didn't you? That's it! Yes! All right. You put a shield in my partner. You know what that means? God damn it! All winter long, I gotta listen to him gripe about his bowling scores. Now, I'm gonna bust your ass for those 3 bags, and I'm gonna nail you for picking your feet in Poughkeepsie.
And let's instead get into...
Michael Buffer.
Oh, why am I so soft?
Let's get ready to rumble!
That's weak sauce. How's this?
Welcome to the main event.
It's better. It's better. Okay, everybody, the main event time.
Just kind of dropped out of that.
Dun, 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 dun. Okay, y'all ready for
We're
this?
doing our own sound effects.
That was just not meant to happen.
That's what we do here.
This is the 10 movies, our 10 favorite movies, featuring SNL alum, former or current. I suppose maybe some of these movies could have a current cast member, though I don't think they
Kate
are.
McKinnon. She could.
Okay,
she's not
yeah,
in
Kate
mine,
McKinnon
but
could
she's
definitely
been
be in there.
films.
And isn't Chris Hammond the current Don Pardo of SNL?
Oh, yes, Daryl Hammond. Yeah.
Daryl Hammond, yeah, sorry. So he could very well be in some of these movies.
He could be.
Don't think so, but he might. So that's the rule. We didn't really talk about like setting parameters or boundaries, but like you said, like all of your movies have 3
I went
or
with
more.
as long as it has at least 3 SNL alum.
For me, the way I said it was as long as there's 2 and those 2 people are featured prominently in the movie, I will accept it. Hopefully you will allow it as well.
I will allow it.
Okay.
I will allow it.
So yeah, we're just gonna go back and forth. These are not ranked, although you may have ranked them.
I purposely did not.
Okay,
I have
okay.
a long list of so we can do 10 unique. So we don't have overlap.
Unique New York.
The Human Torch was denied a bank loan.
Was that in the second one?
It was in the first one.
That was in the first one?
Was.
Oh my gosh. I feel like they went a little nuts with the second one.
Fifth grader saw my pee-pee.
It's so pee-pee!
Are you saying they saw your pee-pee?
I love how that lingered uncomfortably.
Oh, it was so good. So good.
Love it.
Me some Will Ferrell.
Oh, Will Ferrell's the best. I didn't used to always think so, but I was categorically wrong early on.
He's wonderful.
Okay, so you will get to go first since I went 1st
go
with
first.
the Bachelor
Okay.
Party.
Okay. Well, this is
Dude, it's 38 minutes and we're just like plowing straight through, man.
Wow.
We did not do badly.
wow.
Wow. Wow. Wow.
Pow pow.
Wow. I was trying to do like Owen Wilson.
I like what
That's
you did.
trying, but it didn't sound good.
I think it worked.
Wow. Pow.
Pow. Pow pow.
Okay, so the first movie for you, what's it going to be? And we each have some additionals just in case there is some overlap.
Let's see. I'm gonna go ahead. I'm gonna come charging out of the gates. This one probably, if I would have ranked them, would have been super high for me. But I want to go ahead and make sure. I know they would make the list either way.
Ooh, you're going to cut me off. Go ahead.
I'm gonna go Tommy Boy.
Tommy Boy.
Tommy Boy.
Yeah, that was one movie that I picked as well. So the cast members for Tommy Boy include Chris Farley, David Spade, and Dan Aykroyd.
Yep.
There's your 3. I mean, what can you say about Tommy Boy, man? It's so good. It's Chris Farley's opus.
It is the best Chris Farley film, bar none.
Easily.
Yeah.
It's his, Rosebud.
Yeah.
Citizen Kane. That's
Everything about them, because honestly, I think it's probably, David Spade obviously has had a longer career, but I don't know. There's been, the first Joe Dirt had its moments. Dickie Roberts had his moments.
Yeah.
But
David Spade owes his career to Tommy Boy and Chris Farley.
Yeah, definitely. Without Richard from Tommy Boy,
Yeah.
I don't know that there is a David Spade.
And David Spade did, to his credit, kind of reinvent his career to go
He did.
from that preppy kind of, like little shit from like PCU, like those
Yeah.
kinds of roles, to sort of the sleazy like sex pot
Yeah.
kind of rocker guy. Like
Yeah.
he really changed his.
He did
his
that well.
image. He did. It wasn't bad.
He
It
plays
wasn't
to
like
his
a torp.
strengths.
He did. I like David Spade a lot. I think he's
His
really
stand-up
funny.
is pretty solid.
I liked his stand-up. Yeah.
His stand-up is pretty great.
So Tommy Boy, Dan Aykroyd. What do you got to say about Dan Aykroyd? Who's kind of always been hit or miss since the '80s.
He, now I'm Zelensky.
he was like the rival.
The auto parts king.
Yeah, the auto parts
I
king.
make car parts for the American working man because that's who I am and that's who I care about.
That was the ad that he played
his ad.
constantly around the clock locally. I liked him. I thought he was good.
You got Brian Dennehy, Rob Lowe, Bo Derek filling in some of the the other
Isn't
roles.
Brian Dennehy as like Chris Farley's dad just perfect?
That worked so well. I mean, that
That was a
was
stroke of genius.
oh my goodness, that was great casting. And then they had the great supporting cast, people that you never really saw in anything else, or we wouldn't necessarily know from.
Yeah, like his love interest. Who is that again? I'm gonna pull this stuff up on IMDb while you talk glowingly about Tommy Boy.
It's just Chris. I think what was really great about it is Saturday. A lot of these. Especially that cast. Sandler, Farley, Spade, McDonald, Tim Meadows. All the early to mid '90s, before the Will Ferrell, Sherry O'Terry, that whole cast kind of moved in. You had this transition from the John Lovitz, Phil Hartman, Jan Hooks, all those guys. You had kind of this middle transition where they came in on the back end of these big names. They had their moment to shine, and then everybody kind of moved on. Tim Meadows lingered in with the new cast a little bit.
And from what I understand, it was assumed that he was going to go out with that whole group of actors, but he did linger for quite a while.
He stuck around for a good long while, and he's really coming to his own. He's played bit roles here and there. I know we talk Pop Star. He was fantastic in that. He's been in a lot of stuff.
I like him on the Goldbergs.
The Goldbergs.
He's great.
He's great on there.
Yep.
But you had these guys that really just Spade and Farley and Sandler and these guys just ruled the box office in the '90s.
Yeah.
And Tommy Boy was just such. You can watch Tommy Boy over and over and over.
Can I give one more quick shout out for we were just talking about
Jonathan Brandis being dead from suicide.
Can I give another quick shout out to his suicide?
Just Jonathan Brandis.
How dare you, sir? No, we were talking about why am I like drawing a blank? Ladies' man,
Like Tim Meadows?
Tim Meadows, thank you. God, do you see how my brain just locks up?
It's all right. You were
It
thinking
just
Jonathan
freezes
Brandis.
up. No, one of my favorite roles of his, in understated roles, was like in Dewey Cox.
Yes.
Well,
No, Dewey.
You don't want this. It makes you feel good, and you have sex, and it makes the sex feel great.
Oh, is it addictive?
Not at all. I'm pretty sure I think I want it.
No, Dewey, no.
I love Tim Meadows in that. But anyway, sorry. Back to... So, yeah, Peter Segal directed that. And he's, in case you were curious, he did Naked Gun 33 1/3. My Fellow Americans, Nutty Professor 2, he did The Clumps.
He did The Clumps.
So you can thank him for that.
Full circle.
Anger Management, 51st Days, The Longest Yard. Gets some Adam Sandler stuff.
Yeah, I was going to say, I feel like there's a him and Sandler connection.
He did The Grudge Match, that Robert De Niro. Who was the other? Was it Sylvester Stallone?
Sylvester Stallone,
That wasn't bad, actually. That was kind of an enjoyable.
Surprisingly.
Yep. Anyway, so that's just to let you know what other stuff he's done in the past. It has a really, Rob Lowe is great in that, too. I really enjoyed him in that. I like it when he plays a villainous type character.
Real jerky kind of. He does that. It's funny having seen him in Parks and Rec play such an upbeat, positive character. You really get a sense when you think of all the things Rob Lowe's done. He's got quite a bit of range.
Yeah, he really does. He's not just the guy who has sex with underage girls.
No, that's not.
It's not his legacy.
If that's the only thing you're going to credit him with, that you're wrong.
You're dead wrong. But yeah, Bo Derek, I was really not familiar. Julie Warner, that was the girl.
The girl, yeah.
Yeah, that was the girl that was the love interest of Tommy. Real sweet girl, perfect for Tommy. You're watching this, you're like, who would want to be in a relationship with this guy? He's lovable for sure, but he's just a hurricane that just blows through your life.
And I think all of the things that I've watched from guys that knew Farley and all the people talk about Farley, I feel like this is probably the closest that you would get to this is just Chris Farley being Chris Farley.
Yeah.
It's and I think that's why it felt so good, because everything else he did, Black Sheep, they were trying to make Tommy Boy again, and they were forcing it. So it works in a lot of ways, but it was
there were some struggles behind the scenes too that made that movie not so enjoyable for the people that making the movie.
And Beverly Hills Ninja.
Oh, terrible.
It was not good.
I couldn't stand his hair in that movie.
No.
But lot of really funny one-liners,
Oh,
you know,
my
like
goodness.
quotes from Tommy Boy. And little silly stuff too. Like I just love the part where they're like getting gas, and he's moving the car, and he just like rips the door off.
What'd you do?
But he tries to put it back like a kid would do. Yeah. What did you do? Or that poor car takes a beating in that
It
movie.
really does.
David Spade's prized possession. Like I love the part where he's like eating like peanut M&Ms and like they roll down the dashboard.
It's when you think about it, it's essentially Planes, Trains, and Automobiles
Updated. Yeah.
But it's one of those like, what's good about it is it stands on its own. Like you wouldn't just say, oh, this is just Planes, Trains, and Automobiles with a couple of different guys.
It's not like Planes, Trains, and Automobiles was like mostly on the road. Like I feel like they were like, we got these two funny guys. And I like Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. There's like a little 20-minute section of Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. It feels like with like, you know, where they're in the car and they're trying to save the company, and you know, like that's where it was the best. That's where it was just David Spade and Chris Farley playing off of one another in the hotel room, you know, like knocking on the door, pretending to be room service. I mean, it's just hilarious stuff.
Fat guy in a little coat.
Fat guy in a little coat, probably the most famous quote from the movie, this most famous bit that just makes everybody laugh, including Adam Sandler.
Did you eat a lot of paint chips when you were a kid?
Shut up. I love the way he would react to that. You know? He's like, hey, you just, you know, what, you graduated, it only took you 8 years. And I forget, like, Tommy says something, he goes, yeah,
a lot of people go to college for 7 years. Yeah, they're called doctors.
They're called doctors. That is like the best Spade line, I
Oh.
think. I just love that line. It was like, it encapsulated all of his smarminess right there.
Did I catch a niner in there? Were you calling from a walkie-talkie?
Yeah. But yeah, Tommy Boy was great. It you know, we thought it might be the launching pad the same launching pad that a year ago was Happy Gilmore for Adam Sandler. You just assumed that they would have similar trajectories and you know, he would have a movie career for 20 years. You just thought it. You know, unfortunately, he had his demons, and he, you know, just
Farley left us way too early.
He left us way too early, and I have a feeling he's going to show up again in this list. You know, maybe not as the headlining star, but he's going to show up again.
I have him in at least one other thing.
Chris Farley is just one of the funniest human beings ever, and you know, I love that there was such a good partnership between Spade and Farley because, you know, Spade has said a number of times that like Chris Farley couldn't write his own stuff.
No.
Like David Spade, and well, anybody could write things for Chris. Like he could just show up and nail whatever anybody wrote for him. But you know, David Spade, the only reason he owed so much to Chris Farley, he recognized early on that he's like, if I'm gonna get on SNL, if I'm gonna have bits, if I'm gonna have a career, I need to buddy up with this guy somehow, and I need to be the nerdy, skinny little guy to his big Hulk, like, you know, man-child, you know, fat guy basically. Yeah. And it was it was brilliant. And David Spade could write, and they did good stuff together.
And I mean, Farley, I was watching an interview with Dana Carvey the other day, and he was talking about a sketch that he was doing with Sandler when they were, and Farley was in it too. Farley just had one line, and they were doing the pepper. They were waiters, and they were doing the pepper, and it was this very overly sexualized. Where, you know, he's like, "Oh, you like it the pepper? Yeah."
I remember that bit. Yeah.
And Sandler's supposed to come over and do the pepper for Farley, and he's very timid. He's like, "Oh, you want the pepper?" You know, and he's doing his Sandler, really timid kind of guy. And Farley's just supposed to say, "Well, thank you, Pepper Boy," and he just transforms. He's got this big beard. He's like, "Well, thank you, Pepper Boy," and and he ad libs a couple more lines.
Oh man, I bet Adam Sandler lost it.
Harvey in the character's voice, like, "Don't break." You know, he's like, "No," he's like, "This whole bit is going to be classic if you keep it together."
So Dana and Adam were like the pepper guys.
Yeah, they were the pepper guys.
Okay, so he was standing there.
And that was just
Why,
funny.
thank you.
Why, thank you, Pepper Boy. That was the thing about Farley.
I wonder how Lorne Michaels. He must have loved him because he was so good for the show. But
he was. I mean, like Farley was he was one of those guys. He'll go down as one of the SNL greats.
Yeah.
And he doesn't have an illustrious film career. He doesn't have a lot of great.
But not
things.
a lot of SNL guys do really. I mean, it's kind of it launched a handful of careers, most certainly, but it's becoming less and less the norm nowadays. Like, not a lot of actors.
No.
I think most of them are just going into TV and not film. If you've noticed, I mean, like Bill Hader now does Barry.
Yep.
And, you know, I know like Bobby Moynihan has done some
He had
TV
that show
stuff.
on CBS.
Yeah, the show on CBS, and he voices one of the ducks from DuckTales.
Oh, that's right. Yep.
And then when Kate McKinnon eventually says goodbye, wherever she goes, I wonder if she'll just get like a Netflix show or something. Might be best off just to do that.
Because
she's been in movies.
She's been in movies, and she can hold her own. I don't know that she could be a leading vehicle for something. I think she would always be a really good. I mean, like, I don't know. There's a part of me that thinks that the days of like, you know, of a Tommy Boy, where you have two guys from SNL that are just running a movie, or a Billy Madison, or I mean, a number of other films where it's like this was where a character from Saturday Night Live directly translates to a movie.
Oh, those days are long gone.
It's like that they don't do characters.
Nobody wants to do like those comedies anymore. Like everything has to be like a sequel, prequel, or remake.
So this, I mean,
but she's a scene stealer. You know, like she's like the one that comes in and just does something hilarious and then disappears.
She even just look into the camera with some kind of look and just get the crowd going. So she's got charisma.
She's the superstar of the current cast. I like her and Cicely. Is it Tyson?
Cicely Strong.
Strong, yes, Cicely Tyson. That is a person.
Yes.
It's probably a person.
It's got to be a person.
I know Cicely Strong is really funny too. I'd like to see something with like her.
She would. I don't know.
Well, she was in a movie that it featured a lot of SNL members too. It takes place in Staten Island or something. Like they work at a pool, and it was kind of funny. It was kind of funny.
She was in the Ghostbusters remake too.
That's right. She played like the mayor's like right hand lady or whatever. She's pretty funny in that too. Okay, so yeah, that's our first pick.
I'm ready. Hey, does this suit make me look fat?
No. Your face does. Okay, let's check you out. All right.
It's a clip, huh?
Are you sure? All right, now, it's sale time, so remember, we don't take
no shit from anyone.
So my first pick is going to be, oh boy, it's like the draft. You know, I have so many great ones to choose from.
It's hard.
I'm gonna have to take. I have to take Hot Rod. I have to, man, because it's such an underrated.
It really is.
Underappreciated and overlooked movie. It, of course, has Andy Samberg, Bill Hader, and Chris Parnell. That's your SNL alums.
Yep.
And what's the other one of the other guys from Lonely Island? Who stars?
Jorma Taccone.
Jorma, I think, was a writer on SNL.
I think he was, yeah.
Not a cast member, but I think pretty sure he was a writer. So you could kind of toss him in there if you wanted to. But you put those guys in with, you know, people like Danny McBride, who could easily have been an SNL cast member. You know, you would not. It would not surprise me if he came up through like the Groundlings or something.
Yeah.
And you have this like perfect storm of a cast, just a hilarious movie. And you throw Isla Fisher in as well, who's just one of the funniest human beings on the planet. Has to be if she's gonna like live with, you know, Borat.
Sacha Baron Cohen.
Yeah. I just call him by his character, most famous character. Bruno. Bruno was
Ali
pretty
G.
Old. Yeah, Ali G. Never did get that. That wasn't for me. Ali G wasn't for me. I'm a poet.
And you didn't even know it.
Yes, sir. But I mean, you know, obviously there's the, there was the one scene that everybody's familiar with.
Goodbye.
Babe, wait. Babe, wait. Babe, wait. Babe. Babe, wait. Babe. 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 Babe, wait. Babe, no. Babe, no. Babe, no. Babe. Babe. Babe.
So if you're playing at home and you heard me say Hot Rod, and you had right around the 50-minute mark, 52, 53-minute mark, you're the winner.
Bing pot.
But there's so many other hilarious moments. Like I was just trying to think of what parts I like the most, and it's impossible because just like scene to scene to scene is just this insanely quotable, hilarious thing that happens.
Sissy Spacek and Ian McShane.
Yeah.
I mean, two solid, real. I mean, like it would not be hard for Andy.
Real
Samberg.
actors.
Yeah, it's like Andy Samberg and his buddies to get around and do silly, stupid stuff.
Yeah,
totally easy. But like Sissy Spacek and Ian McShane jump in the mix like that. I think that validifies it. It
kind of does. You know what I just decided? Any movie that you've seen that I've seen, I'm just going to designate you team captain for like summarizing a movie. Because you're just better at it than I am. Summarize Hot Rod for me right now. Go.
Hot Rod is a guy on a motorbike needs to save his stepdad.
It's like half a motorbike.
It's a half a motorbike. A guy in half motorbike. He's a stuntman. Mm-hmm. And he needs to save his stepdad who needs a heart for $50,000. So he has to do a big stunt. And he does the big stunt.
And that stunt won them a conveniently
numbered $50,000 for a heart transplant.
Right. That's basically the movie. So every scene is just to highlight how ridiculous this plot even is. He does all these like amateur stunts, whether it be they throw him into a pool at a kid's party and he's supposed to escape. Yeah. Ring the bell. It's just silly stuff. And then of course he goes like, heart of an eagle or whatever. like mind of a dolphin. I can't remember what it was, but yeah, he's like looking at each one of the creatures above him. Pretty funny. I just sit there and I laugh like an idiot. Yeah.
Every time I watch the scene where he's doing his dance fighting and then he jumps and he goes tumbling down the hill. And he tumbles for like 2.5 minutes.
Yeah, that was the scene where it was like the Kevin Bacon from Footloose kind of scene. There's a pommel horse for some reason.
Yeah. And it is like when he's falling down the hill, it is so gratuitous and it lasts so long.
Yes.
But I feel like that's one of the key elements of Andy Samberg's sense of humor.
Yeah.
It's just like
prolonging things.
How long can I stretch this to where like you almost feel awkward that you're still laughing? And I love that.
I cannot get enough of that. Danny McBride is the secret MVP of this movie. It's the movie that I discovered him. I know that he was in a movie called Foot Fist Way, which is enjoyable if especially if you're like a Danny McBride fan like I am. And he's just really come into his own in the last 5 years or so. He's just a real creative force with a very distinct sense of humor. Nobody else there like him. I mean, nobody even comes close to like what he's doing. And hit Rico, the guy who builds the ramps. Like, I love it when like Andy decides to quit, and Rico's just so upset, and he's always wearing like that sleeveless T-shirt and crap. He's like, "Who am I gonna build ramps for now?"
Tell me who.
This is just like every scene feels like everyone just ad-libbed the hell out of the movie.
And I love when he comes to, after Rod crashes his luge into the side of the.
Yes. The guy who comes out, what the hell's going on? Somebody's going to get their dick hole punched.
And he just blows up. He just explodes into this guy and just kicks.
It's a good description of he explodes.
Oh.
It's like, you're going to wake the demons in me.
I go to church every goddamn Sunday. You're going to bring the demons out of me?
Oh, I drink green tea all goddamn day. It's like, what does that have to do with anything?
This is my hat now. This is totally
my hat. That's the best part.
Oh, I love that.
He just grabs the hat.
And they're all like, don't dump the garbage on him. He's just dumping his own garbage on him.
It cuts to him dumping all the garbage. Love it. There was the like, yoo-hoo, I found all these fireworks in the bathroom. And then like Bill Hader comes back out of nowhere with the famous and like,
the bathrooms here are nuts.
I love Bill Hader so much. He has like the best voice.
He really does.
It's super unique. I want to know where he like comes from. And did they manufacture Bill Hader? Because his voice like doesn't sound like anything that it's just purely Bill Hader.
Yeah.
He might be an alien.
He could be.
That's all I'm saying is Bill Hader might not be of this planet. But he's just amazing. I love Bill Hader to death.
If he is an alien, he's a better alien than E.T. and Mac and me.
Okay, you got me there. I would not I'm not dying on any hill to save the reputation of Mac and me for sure. But like I said, Isla Fisher is great. She just like willingly goes along with everything. Like there's no reason why this really attractive, beautiful smart, funny girl would like hang out with him. But she comes to town on the arm of one of the greatest characters ever. What's the character's name? I can't. All I remember is Sullivan.
You chode.
Will Arnett is so damn good in this movie, and this is Jonathan, yeah.
You know what car is really overrated?
What's that?
A Corvette.
Yes. That was Andy trying to win the affections. I love the part where he was just like wearing the Hulkamania shirt.
Yeah.
And he decides like the best way to impress her is just to bang on an engine with like a mallet. And he administers the test to see whether or not she's worthy. The initiation where he just like spits icy,
He dumps icy all over her shoes.
It's crazy. You wouldn't even believe it, and then he does. But you just assume they were like good friends as like small children.
Yes.
They sort of tease that, like she's back in town, but she hasn't seen Rod in quite some time. Andy Samberg and the Rod character would be a pretty enjoyable little kid to hang around. Yes. But I don't want to just spend a whole bunch of time on Hot Rod. I think it's just a gem.
It is great. It's a great movie.
I can watch it anytime. It came out in 2007, so that movie is 12 years old now. And it makes me sad.
That movie's a tween.
It is. It's old enough to be a tween. It could be watching, That's So Raven on the Disney Channel. Core audience.
You could drop it off at the mall with its friends.
Yes, you could. And then spy on it.
Yep.
you could spy on Hot Rod. Make sure it's not up to anything sexual.
Nefarious.
Or nefarious. Sex is not nefarious.
I assume children are nefarious.
They tend... Well, kids just do dumb shit. Everybody's got a story when they were a kid where she's like, why did I do that? I don't know, just did. Hey, what happened to Ron's jacket?
Wait a minute. Where did Ron's jacket go?
Audio listeners are way super confused.
Magic.
But if you heard me say that I'm sweating like Boss Hog, you just assume that Ron's wearing one layer of clothing too much. And by the way, recording like the YouTube magic, there's a lot of lights in this.
There's a lot of lights.
And lights in here, so it's hot.
It is.
Like, how are you not hot?
I probably am.
Okay. Is there like a damp? That's like a...
I'll just sit like this.
A moistness. Just trap the odor. Okay, so that was Hot Rod. Kid's 12 years old, and it makes me sad that movie like was such a failure for all of them. Because Bill Hader was, I saw him in an interview, and Hot Rod came up, and they were talking about the success. Like Kristen Wiig was like the first big breakout star of his generation of SNL cast members. And it's like, although I was really happy for Kristen, and she was like the first of us to really break out, we were so excited to get our own movie, and it just bombed so hard.
I think it's one of those like that the kind of comedy they do, it caters to a large audience, but not the kind of audience that is prone to
go see a lot of movies.
Yeah. Like it's one like it's kind of that I'd say like early to mid 20s to like late 30s. I mean, you're kind of like there's. I say the same. The Dana Carvey show, I think, was just ahead of its time because the comedy that was there is so good. It's just your average mainstream audience has no appreciation for it. Like the kind of stuff that the Lonely Islands do, the kind of stuff that Andy Samberg and Bill Hader were doing on Saturday Night Live. I don't think people appreciated their brand of comedy because it's. I think people dismiss it as just stupid or juvenile, and really, it's still very intelligent. It's just people don't give it enough of a chance, and I think that's I think that's why Hot Rod suffered. Is like there's a lot in the because it's not even necessarily like a parody or a lampoon, but there's an element of that built into what they're talking about, and it's I don't know what the brainchild was, if it was something that they always wanted to do, something they just kind of we come up with stuff like that all the time, just silly little scenarios.
Yeah.
And they build up into these things.
Yeah.
And for them, it's like, okay, the montage where everybody starts singing and it's this, and then it turns into a riot and they're smashing stuff and they're looting. It's like
that really escalated quickly.
Like that whole
were we responsible for that?
The buildup of that sequence, the turn that happens, and then the dialogue after. All three of those parts are golden.
It is a masterful sequence of events.
It's so great, and I feel like so many people would watch that and would miss Like, why are they singing?
If that were a digital short from SNL that you could just plop down on YouTube, well, I was going to ask you, did Lazy Sunday come out before or after this movie? I wonder.
I feel like Lazy Sunday came out before.
Okay, with the Chronicles of Narnia and all that stuff.
I feel like it was before.
Okay, because that, you know, talking about Andie it came up in that Bill Hader discussion, and he was talking about how much he blew up because of that little, like, that was the first time anyone ever really paid any attention to YouTube.
Yeah.
Was, you know, that. I mean, there was cat videos, and then there was like
Laser Cats.
You know, Lazy Sunday, and Laser Cats is great. But I mean, to you know, and I agree with you that they were like ahead of their time. But then Popstar came out 10 years later and also bombed.
Yeah, I think there's just a very because I just watched The Lonely Island's the visual poem about the Bachelor.
Oh, Oakland Nights.
I watched
That's
that
hilarious.
yesterday. It's fantastic.
It's great.
And I think it's just one of, like,
and Akiva gets to like jump in and
really be, like Jorma's just in it a little bit at the end.
And I'm Mark McGuire. Like, I love the way he delivers that.
I'm Jose.
And I'm Mark.
And it was like the way they just all fit together is so perfect. And I feel like it's just offbeat enough that your mainstream audience is sitting there going like, I don't get it.
Yeah, you're right. You're absolutely right. You can't have tremendous fame and then you're just not going to have a huge. You'll have a big audience and there'll be a loyal audience that'll always keep Andy Samberg fed because they'll just flock to whatever it is that he's doing. And I like that he's bringing in like Jorma and Akiva, like, you know, they're not quitting the Lonely Island brand. It's still there.
and because in Popstar too, like I like because you got Maya Rudolph in there too, and you got Tim Meadows, and Chris Redd who plays Hunter the Hungry. He's in the current cast of Saturday Night Live. He's
I didn't do that.
He's also featuring. He hasn't made. I hope because they just wrapped. I think it was 2 weeks ago. That was the last episode of season 44. With Paul Rudd was the host of Saturday Night Live, and Chris Redd for the last 2 seasons has been also featured, and that's usually kind of the testing ground.
Is he the guy that does Kanye?
Yeah.
Okay. He's funny, dude.
He's really, and I hope over the summer, him and Heidi Gardner, especially the two of them.
She's kind of the like awkward girl or whatever.
Yeah, and they're both ripe to join the cast. I mean, they are cast material. Yeah, and I think they've really proven themselves. And I like that Hunter the Hungry, Chris Redd in Popstar was one of my favorite characters, and because he plays crazy so well.
He really does. He really
but
does.
he's a really. I mean, like they don't use him as much in a lot of sketches, and they use him kind of in typecast ways. But when
a black guy,
when he has a moment to shine on the show, he does really well. And so I like, that's one of the things I like with the Lonely Islands, with Andy Samberg, with this kind of material. I like that they're truer to what they want to do, even if it doesn't succeed commercially, that they're saying, okay, this is what we want. Because I think they're smart enough to know if we wanted to pander to the general audience, they could change things up a little bit. And I think you see that from Hot Rod to Popstar, because I think there are some things that they did kind of change up to try and make it more commercially successful. Mm-hmm. Adding in a lot more kind of mainstream kind of things that, you know, people could really latch onto. It's you know, this mockumentary. I
thought Popstar was going to be a hit.
I did too. I mean,
nobody showed up for it.
No, and it's just kind of.
I went to see it and the theater was dead. Nobody was there.
And I think it's one of those, like, I think Andy Samberg in our realm has enough star power to do anything, but I think in the mainstream, I think it's just, you know, when you have Hot Rod, when you have Popstar, and these things just aren't doing well. I hope that their Netflix thing does well. I know they have a tour.
Oh, it will. Like, I get the impression that just everything does well on Netflix.
Yeah.
You know?
It's a Netflix original. It's like, oh, we love it.
Oh, we love it. Well, I mean, and they do curate their stuff. I mean, it's good stuff. Like, they don't just drop trash. Like, everything just seems to be of a quality. Like, HBO is just kind of known for, like, you know, whatever it is that HBO's doing is going to be quality. Only the most talented, you know, people are attracted to those projects, or, you know, get to be in those projects.
Yeah.
So, you know, I would like them to see. I want to see them do more of that stuff, because, like, it's only like 30 minutes or something. It's very short.
And I mean, Andy Samberg on his own has been commercially successful. So I think
Brooklyn Nine-Nine
has been doing fantastic.
He shows up in movies. He was in the Storks movie.
Yeah,
like,
he's Hotel
he's
Transylvania
reliable.
1, 2, and 3.
Yeah, he's a reliable guy. He's a name. People know who he is.
He's got commercial success, And that's why I like, because he's smart enough to know if we want to do something that's commercially successful, we can do it. But they're more true to what it's like. This is what we do. This is what the Lonely Island is all about. And
he constantly kind of he's a self-deprecating kind of guy, but he's cool with everybody. He's so much more appealing Jimmy Fallon type for me. He can play well with just so many people, and he's really talented. You have to be able to, do the songs that they do. I'm sure he has a hand in writing almost all that stuff. Even the guy's just hilarious. He's constantly funny. He just keeps coming up with new things. They don't even really recycle their gags.
No.
Like, they just keep coming up with new stuff. So I hope Andie kind of reminds me of like a Steve Martin type.
Yeah.
He's really good at physical comedy. He just pops up in anything and he nails it like no matter what. And, I just hope he has a nice long career, like similar to Steve Martin.
Well, I think even like I know we've gotten off track of the hot rod, but
No, I don't care. It's our show. We do what we want.
Yeah, we do what we want.
It's totally our show.
I think that final number that they did in Popstar, the Incredible Thoughts, that song that they do with Michael Bolton, which I love when they interact with Michael Bolton.
Yeah.
The Jack
Pirates
Sparrow
of the
song.
Caribbean.
I watched that again yesterday because I just love it.
It's gold.
It's so good. But like
what?
that song, Incredible Thoughts, I really appreciate because I think that really speaks. It's that to me felt like this is almost the explanation of what they do. It's like they just have these weird thoughts and they find a way to twist it and turn it and morph it into this comedic element, and then they put it on display. And the people that can appreciate it really do. I think, that's why it's like, the Hot Rod, I think, even though it's one of those, to me, it's like, okay, if it wasn't commercially successful, I think it really, it still was a huge success in the way that the people that understand their comedy were able to really enjoy what they have to offer.
It definitely found its audience. People that I talk to about, humorous movies, they all have heard of it.
Yeah.
They all kind of like, oh yeah, that was funny. I forgot about that movie. It was funny. So, I didn't go see it in theaters when it came out. I remember thinking, I saw trailers for it and thought, that's pretty funny.
Yeah.
That looks pretty funny. But, whatever it is, whatever their whatever wavelength they're on, I'm on it too. Because, everything they do is just hilarious.
I love it.
Oh, I'm freaking pumped! I've been drinking green tea all goddamn day!
Oh, man, he hit his ass with a porky cone, man. Nice.
God, I go to church every goddamn Sunday. You gonna bring the demons out of me?
Hey, orange balls. I'll have a box of those. Give me a box of those naked lady tees, and give me 2 of those. Give me 6 of those. Oh, this is the worst looking hat I ever saw. Well, you buy a hat like this, I'll bet you get a free bowl of soup, huh? Oh, it looks good on you, though.
Next movie is a no-brainer. You guys all expected this to be. I'm going to go ahead and call it because I'm wearing the T-shirt. Wayne Campbell, Garth Algar in Wayne's World. Party time, excellent. I love those. Both movies. I'm just going to say both movies. Can we say that? Because I don't want to pick. I don't want to pick which one. I didn't want to put 2 Wayne's World movies in, but they're just both so great and so different, but both so great. But, focusing on the first movie, because I think people accept the first movie as the better movie.
Yeah.
In the second movie, they were more playful. It seemed like Mike Myers had a lot more rope to kind of do what Mike Myers does. Yeah. His signature was definitely all over that. But the first one, immensely popular, arguably the most popular SNL movie, where they actually took straight up SNL characters and made a movie out of it. I say arguably because there's one other movie that could be could potentially take that on, but let's see. Wayne's World had Mike Myers, Dana Carvey, and it had Chris Farley peppered in there.
Brian Doyle Murray was in it too.
Brian Doyle Murray was in there. He was the owner of Noah's Arcade.
Yep.
How did his idea go? It's hip, it's cool, it's... I don't know, but then Mike Myers, he does the famous... Sphincter says what? What? Sphincter says what? Talk about your quotes. There were more T-shirt quotes from Wayne's World than possibly any other movie in at least the early parts of the 90s. Swing, and I love that they continued to be famous and successful on the show.
Yeah.
They were real popular on the show. They did the movies, and then they would continue doing the bits from the show. I love their fascination with Heather Locklear. It's great. We talk about the quote all the time about the gun rack, which is one of the funniest written lines and best delivered lines ever. Where his psycho girlfriend Stacy, like he's just, I guess, always in the he's just always wants to break up with this girl. It's just that thing. Like, I want to break up with this girl, but I don't know how to do it. And I guess he does break up with her, but she isn't like taking it. She rejects the breakup. And she gives him this gift in like their favorite place to hang out at the donut place.
And Makita's.
He unwraps it kind of excited and like, what's it gonna be? And it's just like a gun rack assembled.
A gun rack? A gun rack. I don't even own a gun, let alone many guns that would necessitate an entire rack.
Yeah. And was that Juliana Margulies? Is that who that was? Stacy?
No, that was she got 3 names. She was the villain in Men in Black 2.
Clara Flynn Boyle, yep.
I knew she had 3 names.
Sorry about all that dead air, everybody.
Dead air.
I may just edit the dead air out.
Nope, leave it in.
Nope, okay.
I love the dead air. Gives character. Builds the moment.
Suspense is what we're all about.
If anything, you could put in music there like, ooh.
Oh, geez. Michael DeLuise, Dom DeLuise's kid, was one of the headbanger guys.
There you go.
He was also, I believe, the dick in Encino Man. Like the bully.
Yep, you're right. You're right.
Tia Carrere, my introduction to her, hilarious. Katrina, was that her name? No. What was it? Crucial Touch? What was the name of the band? Crucial Taunt? Because like Wayne says it at the end, Crucial Taunt. At the end. I can't remember. But,
I can't either.
But I like we talk about like the SNL cast members. We'll focus on them real quick. I love the Chris Farley scene where it was just like the exposition scene where he's standing outside backstage and like Wayne, he finds his way out there. Like, whoa, And then there's Chris Farley conveniently there, and he gives him like the whole breakdown of where like Mr. Big's gonna be, and like Wayne like turns to the camera and he's like, wow, that was really convenient that I got all that information. I sure hope it comes in handy sometime. I love the wink and nods that they have.
That was one of my favorite parts about that whole relationship with Wayne and Garth to the movie was I don't know why. I just always enjoy that breaking the fourth wall.
Oh, yeah.
I love that.
When done well, it's great.
Yeah, I really enjoy that.
You can't do it too much.
Wayne does it, and Garth does it so infrequently that when he does do it, it's just perfect.
Yeah. Because was it Wayne's World 2, I guess, was the one where they like start up in the top of their apartment and then like Garth disappears and then like Wayne they go down the elevator. But that they did it in the first one too, right? Because he's talking about his extensive collection of name tags and hairnets.
Because he comes up from the basement after doing their Wayne's World.
Yes. And then Garth pulls up in the Murphmobile, and then of course they have that freaking scene, dude.
Bohemian Rhapsody.
Everybody loves and put Queen back on the map. And began that whole like respect-love affair between Queen and Mike Myers.
It legitimately was because after watching Bohemian Rhapsody, it's like Queen really dropped off the radar entirely in America.
Once Freddie died.
And really, I mean, even throughout the '80s. I mean, like when they showed up at Live Aid, it was a huge thing.
Yeah,
it was like in America after like in the mid to late '80s.
There was a stigma to not play Queen stuff, I guess.
Yeah, I mean,
because they were so different.
And I think they had made a video. They got banned on MTV, so they just like it wasn't that they weren't still making.
Oh yeah, I think that was
music.
Featured in the movie.
Yeah,
too,
and they were just like they just dropped off the radar. Like no one thought about them, no one heard. But and I know we've talked about it before, but I remember Mike. Why am I blanking on his name?
Mike Myers.
Mike Myers. Thank you. I was thinking.
See how it goes.
It happens.
You start talking to the camera, and then you go blank.
But yeah, Mike Myers was adamant. He was ready to walk off the entire project, which would have mean we can't do this. Like you can't do without Mike Myers.
No, you can't.
He was
end of movie.
Yeah, he was that adamant about Bohemian Rhapsody being the song.
Right, because they wanted to put in some sort of song that they could sell on a soundtrack and it's more, like current to like what's popular nowadays. But he was like, no, it has to be Bohemian Rhapsody.
And it worked so well.
And it's a perfect choice too, because, and this is not really ever talked about, but it's like the perfect length. Like Bohemian Rhapsody fails would fail as a hit song because it was just too long for radio. It's a really, really long song, but it fit perfectly for the whole introduction. Like they could get all the cast and crew like names on there. You know, they can do whatever. You can see the Aurora as a town. Like they got that great little montage where they're driving through Aurora.
It was perfect.
It was perfect, and it was the perfect length. And I wonder if that had a lot to do with his insistence on keeping it in there. It's like, you know, the song just fits so great. And they all can like sing along to it, and they're just, you know, it's great.
It really.
That's one of the best framed shots of all time when they're driving in the car, and you got the two friends in the back, and they're like constantly like, you know, like it's so relatable, that scene, like as you and your friends and your teenagers. And by the way, these are like old, like 30-year-old guys basically playing like what? Just graduating high school. Like I always was not really quite sure about the age of what Wayne and Garth were supposed to be.
They really don't.
Because Wayne is living at home still, and you know, but they have like wrinkles and shit. You know, like
these guys are older, but I don't know what age they're really supposed to be.
I don't know, but it doesn't matter. Well, like their headbanger friends are clearly younger.
Yes.
And they got the long hair and stuff, and I don't know. It's just something that always kind of like I was curious about. Like I don't know if it's ever been said how old Wayne and Garth are.
Yeah.
I kind of don't want to know.
No.
But just so many memorable scenes. I liked the scenes with Ed O'Neill where he has like that real like kind of ominous, creepy,
slightly dark kind of little monologue
where he gets to take the monologue in the camera. Like you're supposed to follow Wayne and Garth, but like he kind of takes it. Like, come with me while I tell you about this horrific. You know, like when you kill a man in the cold of night, and he's talking about like the soul leaves the body. Like, why do I cry? Like, I don't know. It's like Al Bundy, because like the Married with Children was still like popular.
Yes.
He became Al Bundy. He transformed into him a little bit. Like life is horrible. Why am I alive? And then like just Wayne's World 2, they get pretty much everybody back, a bigger budget. Yep. I just love the absurdity of the roadie that they recruit in England. All the bits where they like fly over to England and they got like the lookalikes that you only see from the back as they're like visiting all the, you know, all the like English
Piccadilly Circus.
Yeah.
And it's I always what I really appreciated from that was like, okay, the expensive part would be going to film in England, not getting your two guys from the movie to be there.
Right.
Like it was just these. I mean, you knew that for Dana Carvey and Mike Myers, like these are just great little jokes that like they enjoyed. It's like we got to do this.
Yeah. It's just a funny thing that's like similar to, you know, like what a Lonely Island would do. Is like, wouldn't it be funny? We have the power and the cachet to pull this off. Let's do it. And you know, like the shop, like the roadie talking about, he keeps sharing that little story about, you know, Ozzy wouldn't go on stage unless he had his brown M&Ms, and then there was a little sweet shop, and then and he had to beat the Bengal tiger to death with his shoe.
With his own shoe.
And the first time they hear the story, everybody's like, "Wow!" And then like, but it gets like slightly crazier.
Like 3 or 4 more times that he said it tells the same story, and they're just like, okay.
Right, because he's training like Chris Farley pops up again as a different character, and he's trying to be a roadie, and you know, so like. It just gets like more and more crazy. Like I don't understand. He's like talking about setting up machine gun nests and distributing cyanide pills that you bite down on in case like you're captured, I guess. But it's just like the hell of being a roadie. Like I don't really get it.
What?
It doesn't make sense, but I don't.
Unnecessary.
Doesn't need it to. And of course, you got the scene where Wayne is trying to stop. I don't know. Was that from the first one? It might be the first one where he's trying to stop the wedding of Cassandra.
That was
that was the second one because it was with Christopher Walken. Yep. By the way, first time I ever really noticed Christopher Walken in a comedic role. It may have happened beforehand, but he was very much a dramatic actor up to that point, I feel like. And it unlocked something where like he, at that point, right then and there became a comedian, like a comedic actor.
Oh, absolutely.
That was him, you know, like it was kind of like Leslie Nielsen. Something came along, he owned it hard. And I don't notice a lot of people giving them credit. Like if that is the case, if that is like the first time people like watch that movie and go, you know, he's kind of a funny guy.
He's a funny guy.
Let's go ahead and cast him in some more silly stuff. And then Balls of Fury was made.
And that's how that happened.
That's how that story was written. Closed book, the end. But yeah, and then there was but what I was getting to was they got the actor, he switches out the actor in one of those like breaking the fourth wall moments. And he's like, what, you know, I know this is like a small role, but surely we can get a better actor than this. And they bring out like Charlton Heston. He delivers the line. How does it go?
Oh, it was what was the name of the street?
On Mulberry Street.
Mulberry Street.
Yeah.
I knew a girl that lived on Mulberry Street. And he goes to this whole like.
Oh yeah, it was a monologue. Yeah,
it's like, I know this is just a small line, but can't we get somebody a little bit better?
Yeah, he's like flubbing his lines and tripping over his words, and then like Mike Myers just like, thank you. So funny, the whole like Village People bit that like started out like not a village. That. Yeah, like they're all kind of spying on Cassandra.
Cassandra, yep.
Yeah, and Wayne is like a construction worker. No, little Garth was, I think, no, he was the guy who was like the traffic,
Garth
guy.
was he was the traffic cop. Yeah. Wayne was working up on the telephone
pole, right?
Yeah.
So they're all in their disguises. So they disguise the joke really well. And so like the gig is up and they all like abandon their posts and they're kind of running together and then they bust through like this like gay nightclub basically and they're like, oh, the Village People's here, and they like cue the YMCA music, but they just go with it.
And
they
then
just
the naked
roll.
Indian was there and he completed the ensemble.
Yeah, the weird naked Indian was there, exactly.
Tim Meadows as Sammy Davis Jr. in that.
What? I don't remember that.
Yeah, in the last sequence when Wayne goes to visit Jim Morrison. Sammy Davis Jr. is still there talking to Jim Morrison.
Nice.
And it's Tim Meadows.
I have to go back and watch. It's been a few years since I've seen either the Wayne's World. But final thing I want to shout out is the scene where Cassandra's dad visits from like Hong Kong.
Yes.
And they have that whole fight the dubbed voices. Oh my Lord. That used to be like my favorite scene would change, but for the longest time that was my favorite scene because it's just out of nowhere. Like Wayne knows karate.
He knows Mandarin. He knows karate.
He knows Mandarin. Yeah. So love that movie. Love both movies. That is my number 2 pick.
I think you're right. I was going back and looking at Christopher Walken's.
Oh yeah.
And I was like, I think he did a 1988 Puss in Boots where he played Puss. So it was like it was less than a dramatic role, but I don't think it would say it was a comedic role.
And in Biloxi Blues, he was like a drill sergeant, wasn't he? So like, even though Matthew Broderick was in that and it had some comedic elements to it, he was
still very. I mean, even Batman Returns, he was a dramatic character.
Yeah, he was like, Max Schreck.
I think Wayne's World 2 may really be the first time that he played anything that was
Bobby Conn. That was his character's name.
Yep,
Bobby Conn.
Dedicatedly comedic.
So in the first Wayne's World movie, of course, you had Rob Lowe again in a really funny, hilarious turn. Because that came out before Tommy Boy, so they took 2 actors who weren't known for comedic roles, put them in a villain role, but made them intentionally funny.
Yeah, and they did it well.
They were up to the task.
Yep,
and had nice long careers afterwards because of that.
Or imagine being able to be magically whisked away to Delaware. Hi, I'm in Delaware.
All right, Adam, what's your number 3, sir?
All right, number 3. All right, so let's see here. So, I
just kind of adjusted my balls like off camera there. I'm gonna have to make sure I crop the image.
I'm trying to get to a place where I don't.
Well, we're sitting in stools where we have been in the past, always sitting on a futon.
Yes.
And so, like, you know how it is, right? You got to make some adjustments.
Yes.
Sorry, ladies and distinguished gentlemen who would never stoop to dick and ball jokes.
No, you wouldn't do that.
It's not even a joke. I'm just saying it's a fact of life.
It's a fact of life.
You take the good, you take the bad.
You take them both, and there you have.
Sorry, your next pick.
Save
us from this.
No, the Facts of Life.
Save us from this.
The television program Facts of Life is my next choice.
Tootie!
Blair, Natalie.
Joe. We know them all.
We know them. We know all of them.
George Clooney.
Yep.
Don't know his character's name.
Mrs. Garrett.
Oh, girls. I love that like Mrs. Garrett's bust was a character in the Family Guy.
It was a spin-off of Different Strokes. She was Mr. Drummond's housekeeper.
I could see that, yeah.
Yep. All right, so
little factoids we just drop in. We just
nuggets of wisdom
in your ear, pal.
Yep, there you go.
Okay,
you're welcome.
Yeah, don't have to thank us.
Let's see. I'm gonna go ahead and go with Groundhog Day.
Well, okay, Brian Doyle Murray once again.
You got Bill Murray, you got Brian Doyle Murray, and Chris Elliott.
And Chris Elliott, nice stealth pick. High five. Way to work Groundhog Day in. I would not have thought of that because there's been so many Bill Murray movies, and you look at his catalog of movies, and you go like, how could I get yet another Bill Murray? And you did it, sir.
I did.
You got 3 legit cast members. And Chris Elliott, not just a 1-year guy. Nope. I think he was there for a couple years.
He was there for a couple years.
Oh my God. Who doesn't just watch Groundhog Day on Groundhog Day?
Every year.
Every single year. I don't even know what channel it is on. It's not like a TBS like Christmas Story kind of deal. I just find it. And if I can't find it and it's the end of the day and it's like 9 p.m., I panic and I go and I have it on DVD. I'll just watch it that way. I gotta watch Groundhog Day on Groundhog Day. And it's the first of that movie where like anytime you have a movie like Happy Death Day, they always go and they say it's the Groundhog Day but angle, you know. So it's a very revolutionary movie.
Yeah, and it was the
last Harold Ramis
and Bill Murray
for somehow some way they got into a tiff in that movie and they never worked again. Never even spoke again, did they? What could have happened? Because, you know.
Be great if it was just like, he ate my sandwich. Something so trivial. It was like, that was it?
Harold Ramis, not a lot of people know this, but in the 70s, left an upper decker in Bill Murray's apartment. And it sat there for like a decade. Because Bill Murray has a lot of places. Years. And he showed up while making this movie, and he was like, I found your upper decker, Harold. And he was like, "What? I forgot about that."
It was mine.
Bill, don't throw away our relationship. We've been making hit movies together for a long time.
Upper decked me. That's that.
We are done.
Over.
Groundhog Day. Andie Macdowell, right? She's I loved her in that. She's so warm and charming in that movie. I want to be with Andie Macdowell after watching Groundhog Day because she, you know, Phil Connors. His character, like the joke is, you know, he can get any woman in bed that he wants. He just needs enough tries.
As most, you know, Pittsburgh weathermen can.
You got a lot of clout as a Pittsburgh weatherman.
If you're a weatherman in the greater Pittsburgh area.
that's the thing.
Sky's the limit.
If you live in a large city, maybe that's not a thing. But if you're in a mid to small town city, your weatherman's probably pretty famous. You know, you could probably name your town's weatherman. So, like, I'm not going to call bullshit on that.
Might be a jerk.
Oh, he's a jerk. Oh, the weatherman's the biggest dick of them all. You might think it would be the sports guy, but no, it's the weatherman.
It's the weatherman.
Because he controls the weather.
And you know what he does all the time? He lies directly to you.
And we forgive him every time.
No regard.
Without impunity, he lies.
Us as the general public, our relationship with weathermen is like one of the most abusive relationships there is because we just keep coming back. Yeah. We never say, this is it. I have had enough, and just walk away.
It's an abusive relationship, to be sure.
And now I've just...
But with Groundhog Day, I just love how the movie kind of like teeters. Because, you know, when it first happens, it's fun because he's realizing what's happening. And he's like, well, I can use this to my advantage. And then he gets to the point where he's like, he becomes depressed because he can't escape this living nightmare. And then I think around this point, he discovers Andie Macdowell and how much he cares for her. So he begins that whole, like, you know, sequence of events where he tries to recreate, like, the perfect date. And he does it, and he finally gets her in bed. But then there's, like, this sudden last turn where he becomes depressed again because he screws it up. And he tries to recreate that exact date, but
it does never.
Some reason it doesn't work the same way. And he's having that funny scene where they're having a snowball fight, and those kids come along, and he's like just being kind of nuts.
Are you kids up for adoption? Huh?
You crazy kids! And he's just like packing the snow and hitting them.
Just like,
and Andie Macdowell's like, "Well, this date's over."
What?
But you know, Bill Murray, he's just frustrated because he's been on this date many times, and he's just trying to get past this part. I'm trying to hurry this part along because I need to get back to the part I screwed up. It's a wonderful, you know, it's a wonderful idea for a movie.
And it's one of those, like, to the best of my knowledge, I don't know if it's necessarily unique. I mean, you have vehicles that, I mean, it's almost like a Christmas Carol where he's given an opportunity to learn, you know. And so it's not like it's totally unique, but the delivery of it is not. It's something. Everything at this point, like you said, compares. It's like the Groundhog Day of. Yeah. So it was kind of.
Nobody says it's the wonderful life of whatever, you know.
So it really did. It had kind of this. this element of a
they
foundation.
did it first. Yeah,
like
they did it first, so they get to be they get credit.
Yeah.
In perpetuity. Well, I'm using perpetuity once again.
There you go.
Woo, baby.
Big words.
Big words for you, our listening and viewing audience. You're welcome. You're welcome. And it has a happy ending.
It does.
That's the kind of movie you would not expect to have a happy ending at all. But they go ahead and give us one. You know, he gets to be with Andie Macdowell, and I would wager that he screws that relationship up 2 weeks down the line, once he's no longer stuck in the town.
It's true.
But,
although he does say at the end, is like, we should move here. We'll rent first.
Yeah,
that's the last line of the movie.
Bill Murray can't live happily ever after.
Not as Punxsutawney.
No. Phil Connors? I saw him in Deadwood of all places recently. Like that actor.
Stephen Tobolowsky.
Very good. Wow. How in the world do you know his name? I love that whole bit. It's just great.
Did you go pro that belly button thing there, Needlehead?
Moving on, or
I'll
talk about anything else?
The one other, young Michael Shannon in that movie.
WrestleMania. Yeah, they win the tickets to WrestleMania.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for not letting me gloss over that one. I love Michael Shannon. I think he's one of the more talented actors of his generation, and to see him in this just kind of stupid role where
little tiny bit.
Yeah, he's just, why is he there?
One of those first things he probably ever got to do.
It has to be. Yeah, but he's just like a kid, but he still looks old like Michael Shannon.
He's an old man.
It's weird.
As a teenager.
Yeah, that's old man Michael Shannon as a teenager.
Old man Michael Shannon.
Getting excited about WrestleMania.
He probably stabbed 3 people because he's the kind of guy that just stabs people.
Oh, he's got a lot of kills on him.
He's a stabber.
A
stabbist.
He doesn't use a gun.
Nope.
Okay, he likes to make it personal.
Yep. Get in there.
Okay.
Hold it, fella. What do you say? What do you say? What do you say? You little brat? You have never thanked me.
All right.
So, number 3 for me.
Number 3. Numero tres.
Every time. Spanish. I'm going to go with maybe one you wouldn't expect.
All right.
Three Amigos.
Oh, that. It didn't make my list, but it almost did.
Okay.
I can't because I kept seeing it pop up over and over and over.
A lot of SNL cast members. Big ones, too. Chevy Chase, Martin Short, John Lovitz, Phil Hartman. So those are your official cast members.
Steve Martin.
Honorary cast member.
Was never actually a cast member on Saturday Night Live. A lot of people think he was.
No, you would swear that he was. And I swore that he was until the internet came along and proved me wrong.
He was a guest host a number of times. He was on the show a lot.
He was the first 5-timer.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep. And he earned it. I mean, he was a powerful comedian at the era that it's kind of you kind of wonder why he wasn't a cast member, because he probably should have been, but he wasn't.
Well, SNL was just a different thing back then too. It was just a place that he could just go and do his King Tut, just be silly for a little while. Like the kind of thing that Andy Kaufman could have really made a living at if he wasn't Andy Kaufman.
And he didn't die.
Yeah. Supposedly, he may still be alive. I don't know. It's one of my favorite conspiracy theories that he's still around. But yeah, Three Amigos, one of my all-time favorite movies. I think I mentioned it in our favorite year episode when I mentioned 1986, so I don't want to go into it a bunch. But I do want to give it its propers because I think it's one of the 10 best movies starring a predominantly SNL cast. That's it. I'm just not going to go back and listen to our favorite year podcast if you want me to hear us talk more about the Three Amigos, because I think we covered it pretty well there.
We did do a pretty good job.
Yeah, I think so. I'd like to give ourselves a little pat on the back.
We're awesome.
Many piñatas?
Oh, yes, many.
Would you say I have a plethora of piñatas?
A what?
A plethora.
Oh, yes. You have a plethora.
What's your next movie?
All right, so this is my number 4.
There's going to be a lot of people who are disappointed that I just glossed over Three Amigos. Like, I don't want to go back and listen to another episode. I'll bookmark it probably on YouTube for you guys. You can just click the link.
Click it. Just click the link.
Click here to hear me talk about Three Amigos. Take the Amigos clothes. A sweater. I still got to say that. That's my favorite part.
And the song that they do.
My little buttercup has the sweetest smile.
It's just good.
It is great. It is a phenomenal movie that I think maybe fell out of favor for some reason in the ironic age of the 90s, but I think people appreciate it once again, and as they should. Dusty Bottom. Lucky Day. Little Ned Needleheimer. Needleheimer? I don't know. Doesn't matter. What's your number 4, sir?
Number 4, man, I wish I still, now at this point, I wish I would have prioritized them just because it's so hard for me to choose in the moment.
Yeah.
Because I'm looking
lot
at
of
these, I'm
pressure.
like, I got to do, all right, I can't overlook this guy, and he's in another one of my movies, but I feel like it might make your list anyway, so I'm going to go ahead and throw out Dirty Work.
Damn it, you did. You took one of mine. Well done.
Norm Macdonald.
Chris Farley, Chevy Chase.
Yes.
And Chris Farley and Chevy Chase have little roles. Chevy, okay, you're our designated, just explain the movie guy.
Norm Macdonald, he plays a guy who's kind of a loser.
And his friend Artie Lang.
His friend is Artie Lang.
Yep.
Artie Lang's dad. Pops. He needs a heart transplant.
That old thing again.
For $50,000.
His conveniently priced surgery.
But these two guys don't have any stunt skills. What they do have are pranking skills, revenge skills.
Very well said.
And so they start a revenge for hire business. And Shooter McGavin, Christopher McDonald, he is their.
Forgot he was in it. Yes.
He is their foil. He's the local developer.
What's he doing to that dog? He's like holding the little
Note to
dog.
self. Get wart cream for giant warts on ass.
He really worked that note to self bit, didn't he?
And it's. I think it may be really the only Norm Macdonald film vehicle that there ever was.
You may be right. He had a TV show.
He had a TV. I mean, he's had different things, but I think film wise, and he's been in a number of things. But film wise,
he's been in some stuff like the Deuce Bigalow movie.
Yep.
And you would see him appear. Yeah.
But this is him owning the screen, and it didn't do well.
Oh no. Yeah.
But it was hilarious. I mean, the whole every part of it. I mean, actually thinking about it now, there was a cameo from Adam Sandler when they go and they do the brownie testing. They're eating the brownies. And,
you eat the pig and burn.
Artie Lang is stuffing them in his mouth. He's like, do I feel a slight itch?
Yeah.
No.
Norm takes like a crumb.
He's shivering and he's got hives and he's sweating. And he's just.
Adam's doing that like, eat the pig and burn. You're right.
The devil.
Yeah. What you talking about?
But
thank you for bringing that up, Adam Sandler.
There were so many of those great little moments. Chevy Chase plays a doctor who's in for $50,000 with the mafia.
Yeah, so if you're getting a heart transplant, there's a waiting list, and that's how they get in first in line.
Yeah, he's gonna pay off the doctor's mob debts.
And he keeps showing up with like in worse for wear. Yeah.
Like, you think after they break your arm that you wouldn't know the money more, but you still do. What's up with that? It's just.
That's classic Chevy Chase.
He was great.
It feels like that was one of the very last really funny Chevy Chase like movie roles, and he accepted the little small bit role and ran with it.
Oh, and actually, I know a couple of the homeless guys that had worked for Christopher McDonald that became homeless, so they pay him. It was like, how about we give you $1 and you go around and run, and there's like, oh, you're thinking of those crazy homeless guys. We're those down on your luck, don't know what we're gonna do with ourselves kind of homeless guys. And he launches this whole story. He's like, how about $2?
Yeah.
And then,
then they take,
when they take and then run.
I feel like this movie was out of its time a bit too.
Yep.
Like there's the whole like prostitutes and trunks or whatever.
I've never seen so many dead hookers before. Lord knows I have.
And that's when Chris Farley's watching the commercial on TV, and he's like, "That's the Saigon whore that bit my nose off."
In the land of the blind, the man with one eye is king. And the land of the skunks, the man with half a nose is king.
I forgot about that part. Chris Farley owned every scene he was in, man. There's the bar fight scene, I think, is like my favorite scene.
When he goes to play this.
Yeah. He's like, E7!
You hit E8.
What was the song? I forget, but it was like not a kick-ass
No, it was
bar
not.
fight
It was
song.
not the song he thought it was. And that was just the best.
I love how like sarcastic and dry Norm Macdonald's humor is, because Artie, who's a schlubby guy, he gets into a fight with the guy at a bar because I guess there was a girl or whatever he's trying to, and press, and Norm's talking to somebody. He goes, "Oh, wait a minute, my idiot friends, you better get his ass kicked over here." He just like walks over and he's like, "Yeah, it's fighting time," and he's like pounding his hand in his fist, and he just gets thrown through the glass window. And that's when he does the note to self. Learn how to fight.
I love. There's one other time where he's sleeping in his car, and he's sleeping in the back seat, and he's got his full pajamas on, and he's got the little nightcap too.
Oh my God!
I love that because the guy breaks into his car to steal his radio, and he's like, "Hey, keep it down. I'm sleeping back here." And and it's the same kind of thing. It's Norm Macdowell just has that slightly off sense of humor.
Yeah.
It's one of those like he was great on Weekend Update.
Oh my God, yes.
He just had the perfect delivery, and I think it was just one of those like for so many people they just don't get him or they don't appreciate his sense of humor, and that's again why this movie I think bombed.
I think a lot of people assume that it was like Lorne Michaels that didn't like. I think he actually liked Norm Macdowell.
Yeah.
It was like the stupid like NBC head.
Yeah.
Like they didn't think he was funny. And you had to have, I guess, somebody, like there was just a certain mold, I guess, like Dennis Miller, I guess, is who he took over for.
Yeah, I think so.
Who had just had a certain style.
Did he take over for Kevin Nealon, or did Kevin Nealon take over for him?
Oh, that's a good question. I don't know. I feel like Kevin Nealon was first.
So he may have taken over for Kevin.
I'm Kevin Nealon, and you're not.
Yes.
Or was that Chevy Chase that said that?
I always liked when Kevin Nealon did the subliminal news. When he would sneak stuff in.
Subliminal news was good stuff.
Because
we should do a whole show on like friggin' well, we don't really, not movies, so we couldn't really do that, I guess.
We could do whatever we want.
We could do whatever we want. Cinemasters, starring the best the top 5 weekend update guys.
The best of Kevin Nealon.
Maybe if we ever get popular enough for a Patreon show, we'll do a special Patreon and that's what we'll do.
I like it.
So if you want to hear us do that, give us money.
Yeah. Lots and lots of money.
So we can quit our real jobs at the greeting card company.
Yes, we write greeting cards.
Encouraging people not to kill themselves.
Yep.
That's pretty much what we do.
We have a whole line of anti-suicide greeting cards, which I know.
Pre-Jonathan, though.
Yeah.
We got the job after he committed suicide.
Yep.
So we could have saved
We have
him.
a whole line of Jonathan Brandis cards.
Jonathan, chin up, Jonathan. You're a good-looking guy. You're rich. You got money. Don't kill yourself.
Just a picture of Jonathan Brandis just saying, "Don't do it."
With kittens.
Yep, kittens
all around him.
Yep.
Okay. Dirty Work. Yeah, it was on my list. I was possibly going to pick it next. So I have to divert my my strategy.
I stole it.
And I mean, it's a ridiculous movie. There doesn't need to even be a plot to it. Like I can't even barely remember like how it ends. Pops gets his transplant. That's all I remember.
There's they have the he's Christopher McDonald. He's doing the Don Giovanni, the opera, and they ruin it to get back at him because he tricked them into ruining a bunch of apartment buildings.
Oh yeah, the senior, like the elderly people or whatever, like low income apartments.
And so they're trying to get it shut down, but it turns out to be Traylor Howard, his love interest. Her grandma lives there, and they've been duped into this, and so he's on the outs with this girl. They're losing their business. They're not going to get the money. So they're like,
so is it to win the girl back? Is that what the ending is?
That's a part of it.
Okay, but also to get even.
Yes, I do love when he meets her and they don't exchange names, and then he sees her again on the street and he's running after her and he's shouting, "Mildred, Mildred!" And he runs up. He's like, "Oh, I think you forgot my name." He's like, "No, you never told me, so I just guessed." I just love that.
That's a good Norm.
He's guessing her name is Mildred.
Now, was this the movie that was directed by Bob Saget?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So obvious. Like this was the Bob Saget. This was part of his 3-point plan to make you forget about Danny Tanner.
Yep.
Like this movie happened, and then his stand-up got popular with millennials, I guess. Like,
and he was in Dazed and Confused, or not Dazed.
He did. He sucked dick. He didn't. Yeah. Half-baked.
That's
like stoner comedy. Yeah, he had that great line, like, "Have you ever sucked dick for some marijuana?" Or whatever the line was.
Yeah, that was. But it was like, oh wait, that's.
But then the guy screams out like, "I seen him." That's my favorite part.
It was great. Bob Saget.
Bob Saget can be a dirty, dirty son of a bitch.
Yep.
Okay, moving on, I guess, from Dirty Work. I mean, check it out. It's really good.
It's a great movie.
It's worthy of this list. It would have made the list if you hadn't put it on there.
Yep.
When you say no like that, you really mean yes. What are you talking about? Watch, I'll show you. Mitch, did you ever rob a bank? No. Did you ever climb Mount Everest? No. Right. Did you ever say that you can see why women find Sean Connery sexy? No.
I stole it. Ooh, so is this number 4? Is that what this is?
Your number 4.
Okay, this is my number 4. Okay, so for my movie, I had to choose which movie to do because I had to get a Tina Fey, Amy Poehler movie in somehow. So I went ahead and went with Sisters and not Baby Mama. Even though maybe Baby Mama was the more critically accepted, like more successful movie, I just enjoy Sisters because it subverts your expectation of the Amy Poehler, Tina Fey characters. Tina Fey gets to play like the kind of, bad girl. And it's funny too, because like now after Amy Poehler was during the run of this, but I wasn't aware because I had never watched Parks and Rec. She's kind of playing Leslie Knope a little bit in this movie. She's kind of like the good girl, like whatever. But I just like watching Tina Fey get to kind of play like, not somebody who's just got their life together.
Yeah, not a straight-laced, nerdy...
Straight-laced career gal who's just,
on top of everything.
On top of everything. Like, she's kind of a fuck-up with, she had a kid when she was young, and she does, like, nails or whatever. She and her whole, like, focus in life is just to get that one big party back.
Yep.
Because her parents are selling their home, and it's Brolin. It's what's his name? Not Josh Brolin, but
James
Brolin, and was it Sissy Spacek? Or who was the mom?
Oh,
she was also like a famous actress for the time. I hadn't seen her in a while, but anyway, so they're selling their home, and the whole movie is here's the pitch for the movie. We're gonna get Tina Fey and Amy Poehler to do a house party movie as 40-somethings. And we're going to have a whole bunch of SNL characters show by or stop by. Or maybe not necessarily SNL characters, but funny people of their time. So here's the people the former SNL cast members. You got Tina Fey, Amy Poehler, Maya Rudolph, Bobby Moynihan, and Rachel Dratch. So you got 5 SNL cast members in the movie.
Kate McKinnon was also.
Kate McKinnon. I really enjoyed Samantha Bee. She was really funny in the movie.
Chris Parnell.
I don't remember. Was Chris Parnell in it?
Apparently.
Okay, we'll add another then. But I think we mentioned this, we glossed over in talking about John Cena, but it's my favorite John Cena role, I think, because he plays like the guy who shows up to buy drugs from.
Yes.
And he's just like got all the crazy tattoos all over his neck. But he just has these like punchy like little comebacks, and he and Tina Fey like have this real good chemistry with one another. And you just wouldn't expect that to happen. I like Bobby Moynihan's, like...
He just goes nuts.
Painfully awkward, yeah. He's the guy that you, like, invite begrudgingly, like, we gotta invite this guy, right? He's gonna... he's gonna show up and be retarded and stupid, and, we gotta have him. Maya Rudolph, I enjoy Maya Rudolph in just about everything. I like that she's sort of the linchpin leader of her group of friends that are were rivals, I guess, to the sisters.
Yes.
Tina Fey and Amy Poehler sisters from the name of the movie. So they're like the kind of rivals, and she's just a stick in the mud kind of pain in the ass, like preppy type, and their whole thing is like staying at home, like drinking wine, and they just wanted to get invited to the party too.
They just want to come to the party, man.
Yeah. I liked there was like a really, like, it's a silly movie, but I really enjoyed the whole subplot of the daughter, like, trying to help Tina Fey's character get her life together.
Yes.
And that whole, like, subplot of, her lying that she had a job, and she, Tina, or Amy Poehler's character is sort of harboring her in her life, and, not knowing that that's where she's staying, and she just wants to get her back. And, but then she kind of fucks it up in the end still, it's just like, it's not a movie that you would just expect to, like, the outcomes, they're not what you expect.
Yeah.
Now, I think if I remember, it has a bit of a happy ending anyway.
There's still kind of a happy ending to it.
But not a Hollywood happy ending. Like, the happy ending is like she gets a job at the nail salon.
It doesn't tie everything up into a nice little bow. Everybody's just happy, but it has a good ending to it.
The house gets destroyed, they had their big fun party. And it's just a fun, good time, and it gets played a lot on cable, and I just find myself stopping and watching it.
It's a fun movie. It's just a genuinely fun movie with a lot of really funny people in it.
Rachel Dratch is pretty hilarious in it. Like, she's just, like, what's keeping her from killing herself? Like, she's such a sad sack.
Debbie Downer.
Yeah, she's Debbie Downer in this movie is really what she is. And it's a kind of movie as like somebody who is in their early 40s, like I want to have that good time like that. I'm the ripe age for the audience that they're speaking to here, because like my high school years are way past, and that's just the whole point of the movie is like we were cool once, right? Like I love the scene where they had like their bedroom and they walk in and there's just like, it's like a time capsule still, like the parents kept it the way they were.
Exactly how it was when they were in high school.
Yeah. So, oh, Jesus. Sorry about that.
It was the Lord.
It was the Lord once again. I would have preferred Baby Mama.
You picked the wrong Amy Poehler Tina Fey movie.
But that would have been a great choice.
Yes.
Because, Amy Poehler. Oh, Jesus.
No, I'm his dad.
Let me readjust my microphone here. This is pathetic. Was it, oh gosh, well, who played her boyfriend, her loser boyfriend? It was Dax Shepard, right?
Dax Shepard in Baby
Yeah,
Mama,
he was pretty funny.
The faux pregnancy.
Yeah, the faux pregnancy. She ends up getting really pregnant.
I got some ibuprofen, aspirin. I got Flintstone gummies if you want.
You seem good at your job.
We don't need any of that. No. We're just gonna take some low-level, late 80s dirt pot. The kind with seeds in it that you separate on a Frisbee.
Something you smoke at like a Bangles concert.
All right, what's your final pick?
Final pick.
It's the final pick now.
Ooh, I like the way you did that there.
Thank you.
It was fun. Let's see here. I still have a number on here that I really could go to. We've talked about a good number of them.
Yeah. Okay, so they got their little shout-outs, kind of.
I have a number. I'll still, at the end, I'll give a couple shout-outs to ones I didn't mention.
Fair enough.
But I think the one I got a toss-up here, and this is really tough on me.
Gotta make a choice. Gotta make a stand.
I'm gonna go Christmas Vacation. I'm going Christmas Vacation.
Now, okay, so what? Yes, so Randy Quaid was an SNL cast member, technically, wasn't he?
He was.
So Chevy Chase.
He did a good Nixon.
And Michael. No. It wasn't Michael Anthony Hall. Well, I'm trying to guess who the third person was because you said that everyone had at least three.
Yep.
Was Brian Doyle Murray?
He was. He was his boss.
Okay. Oh, that's right. He was the guy that gets like gives him the jelly.
Get me somebody. Get me somebody while I'm waiting.
Mister, if I were you, if it was like the cop line where he was going to beat him with the rubber hose, I'd take a rubber hose. I was like, I want to know what he would have done. I would like to know. Yeah.
He would have beat him with a rubber hose.
He would have continued beating him with the rubber hose. Man, Christmas Vacation I always go back, like, what's my favorite vacation movie? And it's so damn hard because the first three are so good. They're just so good and they're so different.
You have the original Vacation, which was also on my list. You have that, and it was one of the first National Lampoon movies. And even, that was on my list as well because it had Chevy Chase, had Anthony Michael Hall, who was a cast member.
Yeah, that's where I was going with that, I guess.
But then, you have John Candy, and it established the Griswolds as a family, and it tracked so well because it was like, anybody who's had just a crazy family vacation fraught with disaster, which I think just about everybody has to some degree, you could totally relate to the Griswolds. He wanted to take his family on his cross country trip. You got the goofy dad who wants to see the big ball of twine and wants to go here and there, and the kids are just like, "Oh, Dad, this is so lame."
Let's save a conversation if we could on vacation because I would like to do a future topic on like greatest franchises, and I think the vacation movies could be a very worthy contender to make a list.
I'm totally fine with that.
Yeah, but speaking of Christmas Vacation. I think it might be my favorite Christmas movie.
It's one like there's a number of Christmas movies that are pretty iconic.
Yeah.
But Christmas Vacation has always felt like the one that's just so accessible because again, it's that everyman Christmas. Like, okay, we just want to have the perfect family Christmas.
Yeah.
And in doing that, everything goes wrong.
It's like your everyday situations that can be related to, but blown up to 11 because it's Clark. He's got to do everything over the top.
Frizz.
Aunt Beth. I love the cast of characters. Like, you get to see his family, you know, and you get to see his in-laws. And it's great because, you know, Beverly D'Angelo, who plays his wife, who is awesome. I love Beverly D'Angelo. I would very much like to look back into her past and see like what her catalog of movies, or was she an actor of what's her history? I feel like it was a dramatic. She must have been like a dramatic type.
Seems like she could be.
Yeah, who just happened to play well off Chevy Chase. But that's his all-time best co-star, I think, in anything. You know, like Chevy Chase, like he and Beverly D'Angelo just. I would have sworn they were married in real life.
Yeah, they would. They were very convincing in that fashion.
Yes, they were very convincing
as a couple.
That's what
really made it work.
But yeah, so like, let's see. The kids were who was the kid from the current? Well, not current anymore because it ran. But Russ, who plays?
Oh,
the kid. He was in Roseanne and also what?
Big Bang Theory.
Big Bang Theory. Yeah, I can't think of his name.
Oh, I'll come up with it. But yeah.
But Audrey was played by.
Fuck! I just had her name and I lost it.
Son of a bitch. She was big in the late '80s
and early '90s.
I'm leaving in the awkwardness where I'm looking up. Juliette Lewis.
The other sister.
I love too that like in every vacation movie, the sisters and the siblings
change them up.
Yeah, the kids are always different. That's so weird.
Because it wasn't supposed to be that way. It
couldn't have been, right?
It was supposed to be the same kids in European Vacation, but Anthony Michael Hall couldn't make it because he was starting to blow up.
Yeah.
And so that was their gag. Was like, okay, we're gonna have Rusty and
Johnny Galecki, by the way, is the kid we're trying to think of who was Rusty. Who was the worst Rusty? I think. I love the European Vacation Rusty. He's my favorite. Well, I mean, Anthony Michael Hall is also a great Rusty.
And Ethan Embry played him in Vegas Vacation.
Okay, I take it back. He's the worst. Just because that's the worst vacation.
That's the worst vacation.
Yeah.
Ethan Embry's a very capable actor. But
he's fine.
It was not.
He's not my Russ. Not my Russ. Hashtag it right now.
Hashtag not my Russ. Johnny Galecki's my Russ.
You like Johnny Galecki?
I gotta go Johnny Galecki.
I like him. When I say it's like, like the third best Chicago Bulls team. Like it's still great, but it's just not the best. Diane Ladd plays Clark's mom.
Yeah.
Doris Roberts from Everybody Loves Raymond, who played Beverly D'Angelo. Like the perfect. She made a career of playing annoying mother-in-laws. It seems like after this movie. Let's see, E.G. Marshall, who played. That was Beverly D'Angelo's dad, yeah. And then John Randolph, who's just so charming as Griswold.
Clark Wilhelm
Griswold Sr. Yeah. Love him. Randy Quaid, talk about Randy Quaid, who's just so amazing as Cousin Eddie. The Shitter's Full.
If I woke up tomorrow with my head sewn to the carpet, I wouldn't be more surprised than I am right now.
He had the best lines. You know what I love so much is like the part where, Eddie's talking to Clark, and it's more or less like, I don't have the money to buy Christmas presents for my kids, and then Clark volunteers to buy presents or to help him out.
They're walking through Walmart.
But yeah, they're walking through Walmart, and as they're having the conversation, he's putting like hundreds of dollars worth of dog food on his cart.
I was like, I like because Clark puts light bulbs down, and then he smashes them with like 3 bags of dog food.
I love that scene. It's so great.
If only we had all that money back that we gave to that TV preacher. And then Clark's like,
there's so many telling aspects of that Walmart walk.
And then Clark's like, well, what about the kids? Like, these kids can fend for themselves. I don't care. No, your kids, Eddie, your kids. And then he has the list of Christmas presents alphabetized starting with
Catherine. Yeah, and it just drops down.
I was like, oh, that's fantastic.
That is a great scene. Everybody talks about the Shitter's Full being the best scene, but I love that scene because there's so many layers to it.
It's a good quality item, Clark. Mind if I fumigate this your chair? It's a good quality item.
And those little kids are so adorable.
Yes.
Like, Ruby my Sue. God, her eyes aren't crossed anymore. Yeah.
She falls in a well, eyes go crossed, gets kicked by a mule, eyes go back.
I don't know.
You might want to take a rain check on that kiss there, Art. It's had a bit of a lip fungus that we haven't quite identified.
Wasn't the little boy the kid from Addams Family? Was he one of the kids?
I don't know. He might have been. One of the things that never made any sense to me, because Ellen and Catherine are cousins.
They're cousins, yeah.
And so E.G. Marshall, who plays Clark's father-in-law, always just so he's getting after him for everything.
Yeah.
He's a very successful.
He's a pain in the ass to Clark. Yeah.
And Clark is a very successful family man who supports his family.
Yes.
They're living well. Everything's fine. He's taking plenty good care of his daughter. All these things. And the whole time, like every interaction, E.G. Marshall he's like, oh, Ed, don't be so modest. We got plenty of room. Come in. He's like, this guy's the screw up.
Yeah.
Why are you so nice
Cousin
to
Eddie,
him?
like busting balls for being with his daughter.
And like, what is the?
Not his daughter,
niece.
but his niece. Yeah.
But it was one of those like that was just what was always. I was like, this is.
He was sympathetic with Eddie or something.
You're sympathetic to Eddie, but you're hard on Clark. It's like, okay, whatever.
This doesn't make any sense.
This makes no sense whatsoever.
Yeah.
And I want to look him straight in the eye, and I want to tell him what a cheap, lying, no-good, rotten, four-flushing, low-life, snake-licking, dirt-eating, inbred, overstuffed, ignorant, blood-sucking, dog-kissing, brainless, dickless, hopeless, heartless, fat-ass, bug-eyed, stiff-legged, spotty-lipped, worm-headed sack of monkey shit he is! Hallelujah! Holy shit! Where's the Tylenol?
Your final pick.
Oh, Jesus. There's one here that I was all set to, because you named off a couple of mine. You named off Tommy Boy and you named off Dirty Work. And so that leaves, I only have 2 picks left to even choose from. So I'm going to have to flip a coin and go with one or the other.
Okay.
Now, if the coin lands on heads and I pick one, people are going to be happy and they're satisfied. If it lands tails, people are they're just going to never listen to us again. And for some reason, that entertains me. So I'm going to go with That's My Boy from Adam Sandler, Andy Samberg, Will Forte, Rachel Dratch, Anna Gasteyer, and Colin Quinn. All of them are in that. I think I'd mentioned that That's My Boy was one of my favorite guilty pleasure movies.
Great movie.
I enjoy the hell out of it. Once again, I'll defer to the, talking about it from that episode so that we can keep this under 3 hours. But I chose it over Blues Brothers.
Blues Brothers is on my list.
You never gave me nothing! I gave you a snake! Yeah, and then it died after it ate all your Quaaludes. That was the only time anybody's ever seen a king cobra laugh. And I take pride in that, so fuck you.
Would it be great if I said Blues Brothers 2000?
Ooh!
But, John Goodman was never an actual cast member, so I couldn't do it with just the one guy.
I would have given you, I think Blues Brothers, because I looked up on Wikipedia to see what movies were technically Saturday Night Live movies. Yeah. And I think Blues Brothers 2000 was still technically a Saturday Night Live movie.
Yeah, because it's canon, I suppose, to the first movie. I mean, Blues Brothers great and everything with John Belushi and Dan Aykroyd, but it's gotten deservedly so many accolades from other lists.
It's one of those classics that everybody likes, but I don't think a lot of people watch all that regularly.
I think people just really love the soundtrack.
It's a great soundtrack.
Oh, it's one of the best soundtracks. Like, if we ever do a soundtracks episode, Blues Brothers should be on there. And it is like the best. It's the quintessential John Belushi role, other than in From Animal House. I guess Bluto would be maybe his number one. But everybody, the Blues Brothers, it's great. It's funny, and one of the greatest car chase scenes of all time, where they go through the mall.
Yep.
That's one of my favorite. Like, if you were to do best car chase scenes, like French Connection might be in there. Blues Brothers is going to be in there.
Absolutely.
And it was the movie I think that got John Landis's career kickstarted.
Yeah.
He had a run of movies in the 80s. It was just unbelievable. I'll go ahead and say my final honorable mention, if you don't mind.
Go for it.
Coneheads. That was one of my honorable mentions. And I think I've listed everything else that I was going to mention. Let's
see here. Ones that we didn't mention at all that had made my list. Let's see here. The other one I was wrestling with that it was between this and Christmas Vacation was Billy Madison. Billy Madison was on.
Yeah, because it's got Norm Macdonald and Adam Sandler and
Chris Farley, bus driver.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, that would have qualified for sure.
And let's see, Vacation we kind of talked about. Trading Places.
Eddie Murphy and Dan Aykroyd.
And then Al Franken was in the cast as well.
What? He was?
He was.
Is he one of the traders or something?
In Trading Places, he was one of the guys when they're on the train at the end, and there's the two guys that are loading up the monkey.
Oh God, it had John Belushi in it too. Then that would have been technically a cast member as well.
So that
not John Belushi, James Belushi.
Yeah,
the brother.
Then I had Anchorman, which technically fit my qualifications. Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back.
Ooh, okay, hang on. We'll say Will Ferrell is in it.
Can you name the other two?
Can I name the other two? Okay, I'm trying to think. So I love that movie. Like
one of them was a weed dealer in Los Angeles.
Tracy Morgan.
Yep.
Yeah.
And the other was the director of Blunt Man and Chronic.
Chris Rock.
Yep.
Okay. That's a little fun game we played.
Yep.
We got to incorporate games in our podcast somehow. Because I like quizzing each other. That's fun.
Then Mean Girls, that would have been my
My microphone is just like going nuts.
And then Step Brothers technically would qualify because it has Will Ferrell, Rob Riggle.
Rob Riggle was a cast member.
And Horatio Sands. He was in the Billy Joel cover band.
Play Uptown Girl.
We'll do strictly 80s Billy Joel.
Okay. That's fun. That was a really fun episode. I enjoyed that quite a bit. Here's another bit of trivia for you. I'm going to hit you with another. You hit me with one, I'll hit you with one.
It's the 1-2 punch.
Ready, set, go. What movie holds the record for the most SNL cast members?
I want to guess Coneheads.
You're right.
Okay.
16. Ready for them? Dan Aykroyd, Jane Curtin, Phil Hartman, Adam Sandler, David Spade, Michael McKean, Chris Farley, Kevin Nealon, Jan Hooks, Julia Sweeney, Garrett Morris, I don't know who that is, Tom Davis, again, don't know, Peter Aykroyd, I don't know about that one either, Lorraine Newman, familiar, Tim Meadows, and John Lovitz. And then the number 2 runner-up with 15 was Grown Ups 2.
Oh, okay.
Which is very easy, that's just primarily SNL people you would think right up front. And Shaq.
Can't beat it.
Well, that was our main event topic.
The main event.
We're going to move on to the return of the much beloved by us. I don't know about you guys.
People beloved.
But it tickled me and Adam, so that's really all that matters. We're going to do our reveal of who played it better, where we select the movie. And then in Cinemasters format, we will begin with that in the next episode. Episode 10.
Episode 10. Double digits.
Double digits is where we'll be headed. So I have a really good one for you.
All right.
I'm excited. Who should reveal first?
I want you to go first.
You want me to reveal to you?
Yes.
All right. So the movie that you're going to be casting.
You put a drum roll in here.
Okay. No, the movie that you're going to be casting or recasting is Episode 2, Star Wars: The Clone Wars. But here's the fun thing: you get to recast Anakin.
Yeah. Oh, that's gonna.
You get to recast Anakin, but you're also going to have to recast Queen Amidala. You're going to have to Padme. You're going to have to recast her. You're going to have to recast Ewan McGregor, who was actually a very good.
Ewan McGregor and Mace Windu.
Samuel L. Jackson. At least you won't have to recast Liam Neeson because he, of course, died at the end of episode 1.
He's dead.
And if you don't want to recast Palpatine, that's fine because that's understandable. Like he's just been the Emperor like all the way through. Okay, take the challenge. So yeah, that's going to be make it better, Adam.
I can do that.
I know you'll take this challenge very seriously.
To heart.
And there were a list of like real popular movies that I was considering, and then I was like, "Holy crap! What's the movie that we always bag on for being terrible in the Star Wars universe?"
Let me make it better.
The Clone Wars. So
make it better.
Now's your chance to make it better. All right, what's your movie for me?
All right.
You gave me The Breakfast Club, which forced me to like open my eyes to hot young Hollywood actors.
I almost wanted to do it again.
Oh, you bastard! No,
I didn't.
Screw it. My search history's already fucked. Just whatever you want to do.
Whatever.
Make it little kids. Don't even care.
Little giants.
Now I gotta do like a Google search of hot young actors under 10 or something like that.
The Sandlot. I'll make you redo The Sandlot.
Fuck
Just
you.
like 9 little boys.
9 little boys.
No,
God, I gotta look up 9 little boys. What's my movie?
Forrest Gump.
Oh man, Jesus Christ!
I was sitting there, I was like, you know, you did the bachelor party. I was like, let's go full circle on Tom Hanks.
Let's do the full circle with Hanks. You know, I looked at Forrest Gump as a possibility, and I said, nope, too mean. I literally said, nope, too mean. You gave it to me, you son of a bitch.
That's me.
Oh my God. Okay. Forrest Gump.
Okay.
Let's do it.
Fine.
Oh, so this has been the end of our episode. I hope you guys enjoyed our new surroundings.
Yes.
That we didn't even mention at the top of the show. We're just recording this episode on the deck of an aircraft carrier.
Yes.
I haven't quite decided what we're gonna do yet.
I think we should decidedly be somewhere that's not the deck of an aircraft, just so it's like we're on the deck of an aircraft.
It's gonna be in the inside of James Gandolfini's colon. That's where we're. Well, he's dead, so that's kind of a downer.
He's Jonathan Brandon. Oh, he's dead.
Dog, son of a bitch.
Yeah, he's
Robin. Oh no, God no.
At least we still have Bowie.
You know, I was watching Ted 2 on cable the other day, and there's that really funny scene where they're like, "Hey, are you thinking what I'm thinking? Yeah, let's go like shout out sad suggestions to improv actors." And they're like, "Okay, I need a place. 9/11. Okay, no, I need a person. Robin Williams." You people are monsters.
I love that scene.
That's pretty good.
That was great.
You know, Ted 2 was like Ted was funny and I loved it and it was successful. But I was disappointed in America, quite frankly. I was disappointed in all of you for not supporting Ted 2 because it was really funny.
Ted 2, I think, in a very similar fashion, reminds me of Wayne's World and Wayne's World 2.
Yeah.
Ted had kind of a point, kind of a plot. Ted 2 is just like, let's do some fun stuff. Let's joke around with it.
We don't really have anything to say, so let's just have fun.
Yeah.
And it's, you know.
Liam Neeson was fantastic. That was the best scene in the entire movie.
The Lucky Charms. You do understand that I myself am not a child.
Yeah, that is, that's apparent.
So if I buy this, I won't be followed?
No, we don't have those kind of resources. No, you're fine.
I won't forget what you've done for me today. He like hands the 5.
I kind of wish that you would.
Great. If Liam Neeson, and he was in A Million Ways to Die in the West too.
Yes,
so
he was.
He was funny in that as well. Liam Neeson should be in more comedies.
An Irish cowboy, as you see so often in the Old West.
That old thing again.
That old chestnut.
And should we announce the hiring of our new engineer?
Yes.
So you know him, you love him. He's been our #1 fan for
a faithful follower.
Faithful follower, Mitch. We brought him on as engineer.
Mitch.
So
Mitch,
he's going to be.
Did you want to say anything, Mitch? No.
Mitch, you have to put your pants back on, Mitch.
Yeah, Mitch. This is a professional atmosphere.
You're not a homeless person anymore.
Yeah, this is not okay.
Okay.
No, you should have a doctor look at that. I'm very uncomfortable
Mitch,
right now.
stop eating crackers.
I'm very uncomfortable.
You're getting crackers everywhere. All over the equipment.
Everywhere.
Jesus Christ, Mitch. Okay, we may end up regretting this, but we wanted to give Mitch a steady job and a paycheck because that whole driving thing was.
He lives in his car.
He made it up. He showed up at my house. It scared the hell out of my wife and kids.
His feet bleed.
His feet do bleed. And he doesn't even walk on them all that often. They just bleed like stigmata, but out of his toes.
Many times at night just staring at me.
Hey.
Uncomfortably.
Yeah.
And yet endearing at the same time.
Want to see me write in calligraphy?
Yes. Yes, I do.
Actually,
oddly enough.
I kind of like that. So stay tuned for Mitch's new channel.
Mitch.
Writing in calligraphy.
He's here. Not
Mitch,
driving around.
Say hi, Mitch. Oh, you don't want to talk. You can't hear Mitch. He's not mic'd.
Nope.
We can't afford a third mic.
Nope.
And honestly, quite frankly, we don't want you to know the shit that comes out of his head. And what comes, the things that go through his brain are crazy.
The internet is not prepared for it.
Crazy thoughts. It's like Creed.
The internet is not prepared for it.
What's the bit from Office? It's like
it's just a Word doc.
It's just a Word doc with the link that goes to.
I've read some of it. It's still pretty shocking, even for the internet.
Even for the internet. So for Mitch, Adam, and myself, I hope you enjoyed watching the show. We'll be back with episode number 10, and I get to cast fucking Forrest.